of crime.
Mildred, what's up? Is this real? Well, this is a real show. I'm your host, Jay, with Guilty of Crime, guys, and we're back. Happy Friday. Good to see y'all. Let's get hyped up. I mean, this could be good news, guys. Nancy Guthrie, DNA sample points to up to 4 people. What does that mean? Well, of course, we're going to talk about it. Savannah pleads for more answers. What does this all mean? Well, let me tell you, I believe the reason that this is all coming out now is that 6-month mark, and they don't have any new leads. So let's start this off with going back to month 1. No one is ruled out, and that includes Annie and Tommaso. And guys, the more that I look into this and see the hair samples and the DNA and what they say, there's a mixture of up to 4 people. Guys, that could mean something a lot bigger than we think. They initially said that there was no hairs inside the house. There was no kind of DNA inside the house that was outside of the family norm. All right. Listen, India, how you doing today? Happy Friday, my friend. Mama Pearl says DBB, Tiff, Edith, Kathy, how you doing? Joy Perry, good to see you. Man, you know, I've been with Ashley Banfield the entire time on this, but I backed it down because Savannah didn't want us saying these things. And obviously that related to Sheriff Nanos. Now the FBI is in full force and it's no holds bar. Yes, absolutely, guys. Absolutely. And Tucson, good to see you. Where's that? Where'd you go? My Tucson girl. What's up there? How you doing? Good to see you guys. I am in California, San Jose, California. All right, this is hiding in. So, guys, as you guys might know, finally the ransom note has been released. We know the verbiage. We know what form it was like. We know what the damn thing looks like. We're gonna read that. We're gonna also listen to Savannah plead for her mother. We're gonna watch Sheriff Nanos and his word salad. All right. Now, I don't know if Ashley Banfield should be sued necessarily. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. She speculated based on what a person told her. Maybe she shouldn't have said it right away. But I don't know about the whole suing thing. People are so sue happy lately. Hey, Teresa, good to see you, my friend. Lady for Justice, off the vape juice. Who's off the vape juice? Are you quitting? All right, guys. Happy Friday. Yeah. Oh, there was a mass shooting in Morgan Hill. Mom, you should check that out. No, I haven't heard of it, but I also just got home and I've been setting all this stuff up. So not quite yet, but Mama Pearl will help out with that. More, thank you for being a member for 2 years. 2 years and guilty of crime. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's been 2 years, huh? Ontario. How you doing, Grace? Colleen, always good to see you. Yeah, no reason, no good reason. People just are sue happy. And guys, speaking of suing somebody, the court is getting documents from these shady characters that have been a person of interest and arrested. And Carlos Palazuela is going to sue Pima County. Guys, this case is just, it can't get any more wild except for the fact that Derek Colella took a plea deal. He's facing up to 10 years. So today we're going to go over the message that was the message from Savannah to us, to the world, to the kidnappers. Was there another note she's responding to that we don't know about? Then we're also going to talk about just the entire case, the case in its entirety, guys. It's been 6 months. All right, guys, whatever you're doing, stop for a second, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. As you know, I'll be gifting memberships throughout the episode, and hopefully y'all can match me, help out, whatever. You know the drill. We got our goal up. Hey, DJ, good to see you, buddy. Crazy Jane, how you doing? All right, so listen, guys, we're at the 6-month mark, and it feels like we haven't made any progress at all. And, you know, saying this is not my family. Can you imagine the family? Can you imagine Savannah? Can you imagine if Annie and Tommaso didn't do anything wrong? Can you imagine that? Banfield also claimed Curly was found guilty long before he ever was. Got drunk online. Well, you know, I'll leave that up to them. I don't like throwing the suing stuff around. I think you should warn somebody to back off, and if they don't, then go ahead. But I mean, I don't like that sue happy shit. All right, Lady for Justice just gifted a Guilty of Crime membership. It's very close to 420, so we can say technically it's a 420 membership in honor of Foxy's brother. All right, guys, let me give you the 1,000-foot view. And if you receive that membership from Lady for Justice, come say hello. All right, come out of the bushes, y'all. Come on. All right, Kel, good to see you. Synth, I'm glad you're back. Kel's always here. Kel is my girl. She's just always consistently here. All right. Let me see. So 6 months, guys. Nancy Guthrie's now been missing 6 months. Tomorrow will actually be the 6-month mark. The case remains one of the most scrutinized, emotionally charged, and technically challenging investigations in Arizona. As this case progresses, we see all these other crimes in that area, and we're like, it's them. I mean, we got 20 people of interest at this point. All right, so listen, 6 months later, where things stand, investigators are not closer to solving the investigation in any definitive way, in my opinion. But the new DNA evidence has produced no usable profile, but it has given up to four potential people, up to 4 potential, which is weird because are those 4 potential a partial of the mix? What are they doing? We'll get into it further. I know there's genetic genealogy coming next, but the DNA sample that was sent to that private lab and then forward to FBI's Quantico in Virginia, they didn't confirm any of the details. We're hearing this announcement from the sheriff on the news, and we're going to get into the details. What does that mean, up to 4 people? What the hell does that mean? What does that even mean in regular terms? Is it 4 people that are related to each other? Is it a person that's partially related? Is it a sister-in-law, brother-in-law? What is it? What are they talking about here? All right, so that's the first thing. Annie, and remember, I'm sorry, not Annie, Nancy Guthrie was 84 when she disappeared from her home. That was on February 1st, guys, of 2026. We're in July right now of 2026. All right, so authorities say they're making progress, but no major break has occurred. Sheriff Nanos insists that his investigators are working every day and getting closer, even though there's no evidence of it. Now, the FBI, I give them a little bit of credit. I give them some credit. I feel like they're starting to work now with Pima County. Now, 2 of the men that were previously detained are now a thorn in this case. All right. Carlos Palazuelos is suing them. He's suing them. And then Derek Colella is going to court over the false ransom. This is so wild. Luke Daly was also detained, but he didn't do any of that. So when you see them up there, then you see the people that have been inserted or inserted themselves into this. And we go back to the connections. These people are all damn connected. Is that a coincidence? Well, I don't believe in coincidences in true crime. So, what's up, Deb? Good to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure. All right. So, listen, DNA evidence, it's a hair sample. All right. It was found at the scene, discovered in Nancy's home, sent to multiple labs, including a specialist lab in California, and then later the FBI. All right. There is a ransom note that's finally released. I'm going to read that to you. Now, the DNA profile, they say, could not be generated, although the hair contained, it didn't have usable DNA. They are going to use the mixed DNA sample. So if you're bummed out because the DNA profile wasn't able to generate the person, well, don't worry about it, because the future of technology, they say they can extract something with further analysis. Now, the mixed DNA sample containing genetic material for up to 4 individuals. How is that? I can't comprehend that. The sample is extremely difficult to untangle. However, even with current technology, multiple labs, including Quantico, are attempting advanced analysis right now. All right, guys. So that's what's happening. What's next is waiting for the DNA to the advanced DNA deconvolution, which is going to be to untangle the mixed sample, and that could take months, according to sheriff. All right, at least 2 of the ransom notes that were sent early in the case are continued. We're continuing to analyze them because we don't believe that all of them were legit. All right, so they're also going back on surveillance footage, the only damn footage that we have. I mean, this is still from day one, my friends. This is still the exact same thing from day one. We've got some sketches, which will throw you off because it's different people, right? It's crazy because, I mean, 6 months in, and we're still looking at that masked person. MM Clar, happy Friday, my friend. Big hug to you. Thank you. Thanks for the $2 towards our goal. Retha's in the house. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Deborah says anything from Annie and Tommaso would still be excluded because they are in it. Well, not necessarily, depending on. No, let's not go so quick on that. Nobody's excluded, and including the family, guys. I want you to remember that most of the time a case like this is somebody you know. All right, it's somebody close to you. They're now saying, and I'm telling you what the profilers are saying, and the talk of the town is saying, they believe that this was actually more targeted and planned than any of us thought. When they profiled this person or people, he keeps talking about arrests, multiple arrests. All right, when we're profiling this people or person, we're looking at multiple people, in my opinion. But they're people close to the family, and that's what typically happens. Your number one suspect is always going to be your husband or wife, and then after that, whoever's in the house, right? Your best friend, whoever you have the most passionate, emotional relationship with, and then money, right? You gotta have a motive. So let's get into it, guys. As you can see, all these people on the bottom. We've got Carlos Palazuelos, who's suing Pima County, Annie and Tommaso. We got Luke Daly. We got Derek Colella. And we have, Luke. That was Luke Daly. And then Zach all the way at the end. All right. Nobody is ruled out. And that's why you can't exclude them. Well, they were in the house anyway. So, Kash Patel is the FBI. FBI has come in. We're going to listen. We're going to hear from him today. Don't worry, Synth. If you don't know, we will totally do that. Let me start real quick with the let's start with the DNA real quick, and then we'll go over the 6 months, and then we'll listen to Savannah's new plea for information. We're going to look at the ransom notes. Guys, we got a lot today. We're going to look at the people that were detained, all that. Let's go.
Disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The sheriff telling ABC News DNA taken from her home is a mixed sample of up to 4 people. Multiple labs trying to untangle it. And what we're now learning about that single strand of hair found at the scene. Here's ABC's chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, ABC News has learned investigators searching for the man who abducted Nancy Guthrie are ruling out one of the forensic clues retrieved from her Tucson area home. They finished testing hair, and Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos told us today it does not point to a suspect.
I think the hair analysis was done and there was nothing.
That leaves a mixed sample of DNA as the only potential piece of biological evidence left. The sheriff said they're working to untangle a mix of DNA from as many as 4 people.
So that means something. That definitely means something. And, Sheriff Nanos is really just a useful idiot. So even if you're not a fan of Kash Patel, at least he's more intelligent and he doesn't give us so much word salad. There's a 30-minute interview that Nanos did today or yesterday. I'm not even going to attempt. I don't want to listen to that. You want to listen to that? Go to JLR's channel. He'll hit play for you and then he'll go out and do what he's doing. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to play a 9-minute clip. I'm going to let you listen to the Kash Patel portion. All right. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to get to what is new and what is next. All right. So Thought Criminal, good to see you. It's partial DNA. Yes. Partial DNA from a mixed sample genealogy. If they're lucky, I think they will be. I really do. Lucky lady. Shout out to Rhode Island. You're just on time, my friend. All right, there it is right there. Mixed DNA sample from as many as 4 people.
My understanding is there's at least 5, maybe 6 labs across the country that are working on all of this.
And they are using genetic genealogy.
You're looking at millions of genetic markers, trying to determine which ones belong to each of those individuals. If they are able to accomplish this, it will be a first and it will be groundbreaking.
And tonight, 6 months after Guthrie was taken from her home, the sheriff is unable to say whether that masked man was working alone.
I don't think anybody's here ready to say it's 1 guy, it's 10 guys. Did he have help? Could have.
Make the right choice. Help us find her.
And guys, the reason this is being released now, literally, is because they need new leads. Don't worry. We're going to be here for a couple hours. I'm not going to leave you hanging with what that means, right? That could be interpreted in many ways, but we want to interpret the mixed DNA sample of up to 4 people correctly, all right?
This week, Savannah Guthrie begged for her mother's kidnapper to do the right thing.
Tell us where to look for her. I truly believe it is never too late to do the right thing.
The sheriff told us he still believes this case is solvable, but he could offer no timeline.
Aaron Katersky, our thanks to you.
Of course he can't offer a timeline. He's the worst sheriff that I've ever publicly seen, right? We don't know how he is on other cases. Well, we do. He's pretty shady. All right, 6 months and where we are in the investigation.
Nancy Guthrie began. The mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie was last seen when she was dropped off at her home in Arizona.
At this point, police have investigated thousands of leads and several ransom notes without a breakthrough in the case. NBC4's Kathy Vara is here with where things stand today. Kathy.
Carolyn and Colleen, despite the fact that it has been half a year since Nancy Guthrie was taken from her home, the Pima County Sheriff's Department says the investigation into her disappearance remains very active.
Our family is in agony. We are in a nightmare that will not end.
6 months since Nancy Guthrie was taken from her home near Tucson, her daughter Savannah is continuing to ask the public for help finding her mom.
We will always ache for her and feel that hole in her.
Now, I want you to realize that I believe that she absolutely realizes, and she did prior to that, her mom is no longer with us. I don't even think there's a 1% chance of that. I don't understand why the notes are taken seriously. They sound ridiculous. Well, guess what, Thought Criminal? We're going to get into the notes and we're going to analyze the notes and we're going to talk about the fake ones, the deceptive ones, the ones that mean nothing. There's something to some of them, and the other ones point to people that may have just inserted themselves. All right, I just found out tonight that someone who comes here lives in my building. All right, tell them to go to guilty of crime. All right, we're going to play this whole thing. Don't worry if you missed anything. We're going to play it. We got to.
In her latest heartbreaking appeal, Savannah spoke directly to the person responsible for kidnapping her mother, detailing the pain and trauma her family has endured.
The world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, and I know that you have tried to do things the right way. So I'm asking you, begging you, to do the right thing now.
It's been more than a month since she last addressed her family's anguish on the Today Show set.
I wanted to just take the opportunity to ask people to beg people to come forward. Somebody knows something.
This week, the Pima County Sheriff, who has been heading the investigation, said the case is still very active.
We have so much DNA to sort through. We have so much.
Blah, 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 blah. That's not even the recent one.
I'm still positive that we're going to resolve this case.
In the last communication from the FBI earlier this month, they said over the course of the investigation, they have received several ransom notes, adding that it continues to be investigated as a kidnapping for ransom case. Savannah said in an interview with Hodakapi earlier this year that her family believes 2 of the ransom notes were legitimate. And this week, she made it clear she hasn't given up hope.
Nothing about our situation has changed. We have done our part. And we will never stop looking for her. For all of us, no matter where we've been and what we've done, I believe there is always a way home. Please make the right choice.
The Pima County Sheriff says analysis of DNA and digital evidence has been underway for the last 6 months. The work, they say, is
last 6 months. It should never take that long. All right, guys, let's talk about that DNA evidence for a minute. Let me put this up there and tell you what the hell that means. All right. So I know people are taking a stab at it. I get it. Let's look at it and really see what that means. All right. So listen, hair sample found at Nancy Guthrie's house at the 6-month mark. Funny. All right. Now listen, what they say that the DNA sample means. What does that mean? What does as many as 4 distinct contributors really mean? Is it word salad? No, it's not. It could be, but listen, it's not necessarily going to identify who these people are, but the lab says it's DNA from up to 4 people. The sample is not from one person. It's a mixed DNA sample, and the genetic markers show multiple contributors. Guys, that makes sense. The data is complex enough that the maximum identifiable number is 4. And this is common when samples are taken from shared surfaces, clothing, items handled by multiple people, environments with contamination. So you got to imagine that they got that from the scene where she was kidnapped. Okay. Any environments that have contamination, decomposed remains, and even water exposed evidence can give you that. Now, when they say up to, guys, DNA mixtures can be messy. And this is a brand new technology, as you heard. So some of the contributors are stronger than others. Others could be weak or a partial. All right. Now, degradation of contamination does make it hard to tell if it's a real contributor or just a noise, but that's what they're working out right now. All right. So up to 4 means 4 contributors is the highest defensible interpretation that you could get. It could be fewer. They can't reliably separate it or give us the profiles for each, but they're working on it. Now, a mixed DNA sample, it cannot identify specific individuals without comparison samples, but when the DNA was deposited at that time, they can take that mixture and find, oh, well, this is partially from this person, or they can get a good idea. Is it a half relative? Is it a full relative? Is it a distant relative? Is it nobody in the family? All right. So that's where we are right now. I can't imagine why we're only there, but there you go. So July 30th, it came out that the hair sample that underwent forensic testing after being found at Tucson, Arizona, home of Nancy Guthrie, came back inconclusive, and it did not point to a suspect. So now Sheriff Nanos is saying, he's saying it came back with no results, but we're working on this daily. Like I said, word salad. All right, we're gonna listen to some of that word salad because I want you to hear it in his own words. He says, I know that there was blood at the scene, and so that was also part of the process. Nanos said, blah, 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 blah. CBS previously reported that in May, a DNA sample that was sent to the sheriff's detectives to a private laboratory was then forwarded to FBI crime in Quantico, Virginia. Officials did not confirm, however, any details about the sample or whether it was the hair sample in question. Guys, we don't know. We really don't know. They're not telling us. They're saying a piece of, I believe, what are they saying? A piece of, hold on. So the hair sample that was found is inconclusive. the other DNA that was found at the scene, we don't know what the DNA was, guys. We don't know if it was hair, blood, and I hate to say this, semen, what have you. All right. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old when she was last seen. Investigators have said they believe that she was likely abducted. At least 2 of the ransom notes that we're going to show you right now they're finally released. So even when a case goes cold, Nano says, I don't give up. We continue to work, blah, 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 right? God forbid it ever take 50 years. Now, other than the surveillance video, guys, from Guthrie's house that was released early in the investigation, no new video has been recovered from anyone's camera. It appears that the suspect evaded traffic cameras and is believed to, they also believe the suspect could be in the local Tucson area. And I'm not reading it from here, but I did hear that they believe that this person stalked Nancy, knew her routine, and then proceeded. And they did this in a premeditated way, a very calculated and premeditated way. How did it go so wrong? I'm not sure. I really don't know, and I wish I could tell you. But see, and this is someone close to home. Nano says, do I have evidence? No. But let's look at a crime across the country, around the world, who by far 90 to 95% of your criminals are where? Right here locally. All right. Monday, when Savannah posted the video on Instagram, she says, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, I'm going to play that. Then the sheriff on Thursday addressed the criticism that was previously levied against FBI Director Kash Patel, who claimed the sheriff's department was slow to involve the FBI in the case, which we've heard of, and we've heard the apologies and the bullshit excuses. Nano said he's optimistic that this case will be resolved. I don't believe anything he says. Bottom line here, he says, is we know more than you will ever know, because that's how investigations work. Does anyone believe that at all? Just a little bit? No? Okay. I also thought she was stalked. Yep. When you look at possible profiling of these people or person, right? So we look here right now. We've only had one picture, one image, one video clip. That's it. That's all. But we only have one, but we have all these people that have either inserted themselves or have been inserted into the case. 2 people, Kash Patel and Nanos, that are directing this. All right. And we're going to get to this. All right. Let's take a look at this together. I'm going to leave it up there. Oh no. Sorry, Moore. Are you okay? I agree, Deb. 110% agree with you. If I could go back to the first episode that I ever did on this case, I told you exactly what I was thinking. All right, so let's look at this real quick, guys. This is we're in 2026, right? We don't have ransom notes like that anymore. When you look at the screen, it says the key figures. And then when you look, you see Pima County Sheriff, Nancy's home, Annie's house, which was the last place that Nancy was seen. And by the way, law enforcement has been to their house several times collecting evidence. What evidence? We don't know. All right. So they show ransom note drop site. We're in 2026, guys. That doesn't happen anymore. We haven't gotten a letter where we can get the DNA and the handwriting off of it. Now it's this. All right. So they're releasing this. They specifically said they're releasing this because they need more tips. All right. Even though they say it's not a cold case, they need more tips. So what does that mean? Well, let's take a look at this together. Yes, like Jen was with Stefan, 100%. I do too. Jet set JP. I hope so. Happy Friday, guys. If I didn't say it already, hit the like button on your way in or on the way out. We will be gifting memberships in a bit. And it's Friday, so who knows what's going to be happening. All right, so let's look at this letter. Hopefully you guys can see it. All the ransom notes were sent to local news stations and TMZ. That was the first indicator that something was off. Now, this is what they got. They literally called the subject a news tip We don't know what the name or email address is, which, by the way, I'm sure you realize that they use some, probably the fakest email, the IP blocker, whatever they wanted. It could say marshmallow in there and we wouldn't know. Marshmallow at kidnapping.com, whatever they put. All right. Now, in the question and comment, I did not expect this. I did not freaking expect this, because I feel like we can get more answers from this than you could from a handwritten note that was put into a mailbox if someone freaking put gloves on, right? This gives you a lot of information on the back end. Who the hell filled out the damn form, when they filled it out, where on their computer, was it from a what IP address? Guys, that's not a good idea, but I am glad they did it. Hey, Total Avid Bro fan, good to see you. So look, these guys use the KOLD freaking little news subscriber thing that gives you an option to give questions or comments. That's wild. Did anyone realize that? Listen, let's talk about the first one. Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom. And we're going to go over this later. I'm going to read it. We'll analyze it later, and you guys could chat amongst yourselves and throw some comments what you think. All right. So, hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom, and once payment is received, she will be released unharmed. We will be holding her for a maximum of 7 days. Guys, we didn't know that ever. I don't think I knew that. You will need to send Bitcoin in the amount of $4 million USD before 5 p.m. on Thursday the 5th. Now, this was in January. If payment is not received, the ransom will be increased to 6 million USD, which will need to be paid by 5 p.m. on Monday the 9th. Now, once payment is received to the Bitcoin address below, she will be released within 12 hours of deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson. Now, if payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. If payment is not received by the last deadline, your mom in your hands, it is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me on here. That there will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement will not be able to help you. And then underneath it says, please enter your birthday. Who knows what the hell they put? And then they agreed to the terms and conditions. What? I've never seen anything like that. And I did not know they only had 7 days. There was no urgency whatsoever. So that makes me upset. We'll go into that later. Here's the next page, or the next note that they're saying they think is valid. Now look, new subject. They go again back to KOLD and they call it a news tip. Fill out the form, whatever. I don't know if they say it's from the same people. Guthrie family. We did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical condition. We never intended to hurt her. That was not our intention. She perished shortly after she was taken. We believe it was heart related. Oh my God. See, we didn't know that. I didn't know that. They're telling her how she died and when she died and how. She perished shortly after she was taken. We believe it was heart related. She is buried in nature now. Nothing you could have done could have changed the outcome. We want your family to know this and hope you can all find peace. We are truly sorry. Oh God, we got to go over this, man. Oh my God. This is, this buried in nature reminds me of something that Annie or Tommaso would say by their writings in their poems and things like that. We've talked about that. What do you guys think about this? I didn't know there was an urgency. I did not know that they like, look at this. This looks like it's somebody's cousin and they don't want their cousin to be remorseful about not doing something in time and not feel that guilt. What do you guys think about that? It just doesn't make sense. The first part doesn't, but the second part of the second one does. Perished? Who says she perished shortly after she was taken? We believe it was heart related. She's buried in nature now. I mean, who's doing that? What's the proper? I mean, that's how it sounds to me in my head anyway, right? Is reminiscent of, I know, definitely. Hello, Clarice. It's chilling and it's on Savannah. That's what it sounds like, though. And when you read the Annie and Tommaso freaking poems and the way they write, oh, well, let's say a prayer that Nancy, that this case gets solved for Nancy Guthrie and the family, guys, because this is not good, right? So we knew by what, day 5 that she was already not alive anymore. Hey, don't sleep on hugging a tree. All right, so I don't know if you guys have seen any of these ransom notes yet, but that's where we are right now. So let me play this. Let me do the sheriff. We know more than you'll know, and then I'll play Savannah's plea, and we're going to talk about all of this stuff, all right? Nobody ruled out, etc., etc. Guys, buckle up, buckle in. We're getting down to it. We're going to be here for a while, all right? All right, here's what we know, just a snippet of it, and then I'll continue. I'm not going to play 30-minute interviews.
Today in the search for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie, nearly 6 months after Nancy was kidnapped from her home in Tucson, Arizona. Our Jonathan Vigliotti sat down with the sheriff who's at the forefront of the investigation.
Even when a case goes cold, we don't give up on it. God forbid this ever take 50 years, but it could.
Like I said, there's a 29-minute interview with this gentleman and clown Sheriff Nanos the clown. All right, I'm going to play the relevant parts of it, and we're going to talk about the forensic update, key takeaways from that, the media release, and then this is John Vigliotti, and this is the hair testing recovered interview, we'll say, right? I'm not playing the whole thing. Go to JLR, you can watch it there. 30 minutes of it.
Statement tonight from Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos, who said potentially critical evidence recovered from Nancy Guthrie's Tucson home, hair, came back inconclusive.
It came back with no results.
No results.
Yeah.
Was there blood that is still being analyzed right now that could belong to the suspect or suspects?
I know that there was blood at the scene.
That blood and other DNA, Nanos says, has yielded no results. No new.
Such bullshit. He's not telling us anything that we didn't already know. He doesn't even know, in my opinion, anything new. This is ridiculous. We knew this blood was here. We knew that it had been collected, obviously, but he's not telling us what the sample was inside of the house. I want you to realize that, because I was confused prior to this, thinking that the sample was only hair. And now we know there's another sample that they collected, probably from her room, is what people are alluding to, which would be from the kidnapping scene where they think she was taken from. All right.
Video has been recovered, and it appeers the suspect or suspects evaded traffic cameras.
Do you think that the suspect or suspects could be local?
Sure, absolutely.
You do?
Absolutely. Do I have evidence of it? No, but let's look at crime across the country. 95% of your criminals are where? Right here locally.
Our family is in agony. We are in a nightmare that will not end.
On Monday, Savannah Guthrie addressed her mother's kidnapper, who it's believed sent 2 notes to the family before going silent.
So I'm asking you, begging you to do the right thing now. Make the right choice. Help us find her.
You say you are optimistic, you are positive that there will be a resolution here. Is that based on any evidence that you have before you, or is that driven by your gut?
It's based on all the evidence before me. The bottom line here is this. We know more than you will ever know, because that's how investigations work.
The sheriff would not elaborate on the evidence.
He's such a sham. And by the way, he gave John Vigliotti an interview, and he also gave there was a young man that he gave an interview to. This guy was, this kid is 17. He's a kick-ass kid. We will play that as well, because I feel like Nanos will only give certain people interviews. It's weird, but he definitely gave it to this young 17-year-old boy. This guy's like a prodigy. All right. So with him, the sheriff will fire back at Cash, and we will talk about the interview with Jesse Weber. Right. We're also got the ransom note. We want to break that down. Nobody being ruled out. But at the same time, the man that was detained, Carlos Palazuelos, right as we're doing this, he is literally suing Pima County. And on top of that, we've got this shady ass character, Derek Colella, taking a plea deal. Guys, I don't even know. This case is so crazy. All right, come on in, guys. Mab, good to see you, my friend. How you doing? Remember this. I want you to remember this. All right. All right. Let's listen to Savannah's plea, and then we can continue. Hey, Sue Weir, good to see you. Come on in. Hit the like button and make sure you hit the notifications so you can come back. All right. We're every day, Monday through Friday, down below. All right. Let's listen to this. This will be the only one that we're actually listening to the full thing.
The world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, and I know that you have tried to do things the right way. So I'm asking you, begging you to do the right thing now. Make the right choice. Help us find her. Tell us where to look for her. I truly believe it is never too late to do the right thing. Help us bring this situation to an end. For all of us, no matter where we've been and what we've done, I believe there is always a way home. Please make the right choice. I'm coming on today with a very specific message. It has been months since our mom was taken from us. Our family is in agony. We are in a nightmare that will not end. Nothing about our situation has changed.
Guys, I mean, I think that she really does realize that somebody that did this more than likely knows her. Nobody's going to apologize to you and try to make your conscience clean by saying, don't worry, it was nothing you did, right? I think she knows that she's pleading to somebody and she's trying to get at their heartstrings, all right? In the first note, it threatens to kill her, but the second note says it was unintended. She died. She doesn't sound to be the author of the notes. Who doesn't sound to be the author of the notes? Tucson girl, come on in. Let me know. Let's finish this.
We have done our part, and we will never stop looking for her. We will always ache for her and feel that hole in our hearts. The world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, and I know that you have tried to do things the right way. So I'm asking you, begging you to do the right thing now. Make the right choice. Help us find her. Tell us where to look for her. I truly believe it is never too late to do the right thing. Help us bring this situation to an end.
And maybe you won't get the death
for all of us, no matter where we've been and what we've done. I believe there is always a way home. Please make the right choice.
Damn.
I'm coming on today with a very specific.
Oh, guys, that gets me. Like, I can't. It gets me. It gets me. Listen, I didn't say that. All right, I did not say that. It just still gets me. It tugs at my heartstrings, and I'm not even in the family. I couldn't imagine doing a crime like that and then having to listen to the pleas. Oh my God. Okay, so real quick, we're back on the ransom note for just a second and the media release. The classic one, she has the money to hire the best private investigator. Don't depend on cops to solve the case because they won't. Keep the case active. I'll leave that up for a minute. This is Monday. Yeah, this is super recent. Today's Friday. This happened on Monday. After this happened on Monday, then it kicked off the release of the ransom notes. That was just minutes before I hopped on here. Okay. And then while I was researching this case, I also found out about Derek Colella and Carlos Palazuelos. So that's part of this case. And are they actually still connected to it? What happened? Are we going to know? Why did they do a plea deal? What evidence did they have? We know nothing. I do too. And even if she doesn't know exactly who it is, I think she does, if that makes sense. All right. So Pima County put out a release today, media release on July 31st, Nancy Guthrie investigation update, video and ransom note details. All right. The Pima County Sheriff's Department and Federal Bureau of Investigations Phoenix Field Office have been working together for the past 6 months to locate Nancy Guthrie. Nancy was last confirmed at her residence in Catalina Foothills neighborhood in Tucson on the evening of January 31st. All right, so it would have been February 5th when they talked about the deadline, and then February 9th. Throughout our collective investigative resources, with the assistance of private sector, we have recovered videos from her resident showing an unidentified male who knows what happened to Nancy. Now, 2 videos recovered from Nancy's doorbell may be from 2 separate days. These videos are critical to our understanding of the unidentified male's behavior and choices. They indicate that he took steps to prepare for the event on the night of January 31st to February 1st. Investigators continue to pursue every available technological and investigative lead. However, community members remain a vital resource as we seek to provide answers for Nancy's family. We would like to thank those who have already provided tips and information. We're asking for the public's continued assistance and are confident that you can further the effort. All right, we're asking for their assistance, and we know there are individuals familiar with this unidentified male who may have observed changes in his behavior around the time frame of the videos, to include, all right, guys, this is people that need a second. They need to have a second. They need to think again. All right. They need to think back and say, oh shit, that guy kind of looks like it, or that looks like this person. And man, oh my God, it just clicked. The day after, he wouldn't let me come over for lunch like he normally does. And he was acting shady, whatever. You know what I'm saying? MP Daughtry, happy Friday. My goodness, you're spoiling me. What do I get? What do I owe this pleasure? $5, guilty of crime. Happy birthday, Jay. Thank you. Thank you. Happy Friday. And I did have a really great birthday. Guys, shout out for Leo season, July 31st, 2026. Come out, Leos. Come on out. There's one of my Leos right here. All right. So look, they're looking for activity. Okay. They want activity. They want more leads. This is the deal right here. So they're saying, hey, if somebody displays a change in mood or anxiety, maybe nervousness or irritability. Now, this is around the time is what they're saying. A change of physical appearance, hair, color, or cut, growth, or removal of facial hair. Guys, everybody changed. Everybody changed. Look at this. When you look at this, or these, because these aren't the real pictures, but they are on the bottom. Everybody changed. Look at Luke shaved himself, cut all his facial hair off, went clean shaven and suited and booted all the way to the arms up. What about this guy? What about freaking Tommaso? One of the biggest changes. And then he disappeared for a while, right? He covered his face. And how do we know what happened with the beard? Derek Colella looks way different. That may be because of the age and the meth. Now, the meth was proven. So you guys want to know if he was on drugs? He was. All right. It says in the article, or what I was reading earlier said he was on methamphetamines and he has to go to rehab. And then they're looking at 10 years probation. All right. So all of these people, it's everybody. All right. But mostly, guess what, guys? Annie and Tommaso were hiding their faces like crazy. Why do you think? Why were they trying to disguise their walk? What were they crying extra for? All right, let's continue. All right. All right, so listen, a change of physical appearance. We talked about that. Unexplained injuries, cuts on hands, bruises during the period Nancy was last seen. Normal routine changes, missing work, classes, or appointments. Sudden departures from the area around the time of her disappearance. Vehicles cleaning or repairs. Unexplained interest in or disinterest in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood. Noticeable intense interest in the investigation or an unexplained knowledge of this situation, right? Now, look, 2 ransom notes are attached to this media release. They were sent to local and national media outlets that purport to have been written by kidnappers, right? Now, the local CBS affiliate in Tucson, the KOLD, received the first note on February 2nd. Now, guys, mind you, Nancy Guthrie was kidnapped on the night into the morning of January 31st to February 1st. The ransom note seemed to be an afterthought because the first note was not received until February 2nd, where they gave them till February 5th, 3 days. All right. And the second on February 6th, they gave them to February 9th, and they'd have to up the price. Now, these communications revealed distinctive patterns of word choice, syntax, and phraseology that reflects the writer's unique linguistic style. Anyone remind that of anything? They also provide valuable insight into the person's mindset, motives, and the evolution of their tone over time. As with the unidentified male depicted in the video, we believe these distinctive linguistic characteristics may be recognizable to someone who knows or has interacted with the note's writer, right? Like the Unabomber, right? The Unabomber's brother-in-law turned him in because he knew how he writes. Now, a friend, family member, coworker, classmate, or acquaintance may recognize these patterns of expression and possess information that could help identify the individual responsible. In some cases, there are times when people who may have knowledge initially that they don't come forward. This may be due to their close relationship with those who might be involved, as well as a concern for their own safety, reputation, or standing in the community and amongst their friends. All right. We recognize relationships and loyalties change over time, as do people and their perspectives. It's not too late to come forward, regardless of how insignificant you think your information may be or whether you think we're already aware of it. Please contact them. All right. 1-800-CALL-FBI or 1-800-CALL-FBI or 1-800-225-5324. Guys, you can remain anonymous, and I hope that they stick with that. This is a reward available for your information. Guys, there's still a reward for $1.25 million. All right, so we went over the first letter. Hey, Indy. Good to see you, my friend. Party hat. All right, so we went over those. Plausible. Wait, who? The classic one. Could be a never know. All male. Normal male kidnapper would say she's buried in the desert. I know, right? Hey, they love. Good to see you, right? That a normal kidnapper, you would think. Okay, so here are the ransom notes, and they ask, what? If you see anyone or if anything has changed, let us know. Now, before we even continue going further into it, 2 people right off the bat that interjected themselves into this, one being Derek Colella. Now, I'm not going to say that Carlos Palazuelos directed him or inserted himself, but he certainly was detained. Right? This is Derek Colella, guys. This is the guy that you see right here, the big face on the right of me that's connected to Annie and Tommaso. That's Derek Colella that wrote the fake I want my money text messages and also called Annie and Tommaso and was on the phone for 9 seconds. All right. Which is enough time to say, hey, meet me at Starbucks, click, or whatever. Okay. So this is him, and it'll tell you everything you need to know about it. accused of faking a ransom note, took a plea July 2nd, and he's facing 10 years probation and rehab time. Crazy.
I think the first time we came was for a friend's promotion. Figured we'd play a couple hands and then leave.
That was 6 months.
A fake ransom note to Nancy Guthrie's family has pleaded guilty. Derek Kalela is from California. He entered pleas on 2 felony charges involving sending a ransom demand and making threats. 13 News reporter Peyton May was inside the courtroom and joins us live now. Peyton, walk us through the terms of the plea agreement.
Yeah, Val, Kalela pleaded guilty to 2 felony counts and admitted to all of the evidence presented against him by the government. Now, he was arrested back in February after the FBI said he sent text messages to 2 members of the Guthrie family. And local law enforcement hope that his sentencing can discourage others from doing the same.
You know what they didn't say? They didn't talk about the phone call. Yes, Carlos Palazuelos is suing, and Derek Kalela is facing time for the fake ransom note. 2 people.
Amidst a flurry of letters and tips received in the months after Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, one man has pled guilty for his role in misleading law enforcement and causing harm to the Guthrie family. During his plea agreement, 42-year-old Derek Anthony Kalela admitted to calling and sending text messages to the Guthrie family, posing as her kidnapper and asking for Bitcoin payment. He'll receive 10 years probation at his sentencing on September 10th and has been ordered to report to a treatment addiction center in the meantime. Local criminal defense attorney Louis Fidel was not involved with Kalela's case, but says the outcome wasn't surprising.
You know what it sounds like to me? The tone of this entire thing was, it seems to be out of desperation. Whether it's desperation by this man that's hopped up on drugs or desperation in the entire case, the fact that the kidnappers got nothing out of this. All right. I know his poor mom. That's Carlos. I don't want to mix it up between Carlos Palazuelos and Derek Kalela, but we'll talk about Carlos next. All right. Yes, that's what I'm saying, Indy Isham. When you guys look at the chart down there, those people are all connected to Annie and Tommaso right here. Derek Kalela is the guy right there, the big face in the blue background. And then you see Luke Daly off to the right, Kayla Day that was also arrested with Luke Daly, DJ Mojito, Tommaso and Annie. They're all connected. They're all freaking connected. So I think that law enforcement definitely knows more than we do. Hey, Shadow. Oh yeah, I'm sure. All right.
Despite not receiving jail time, he hopes Kalela's plea deal will discourage others from taking similar action.
You certainly hope that people see that and understand that to do something like that is a crime. It does hurt people, and it's not something that people should do.
That's a warning Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos has issued too. In an exclusive interview with 13 News yesterday, Nanos says individuals who sent fraudulent notes will be prosecuted to the fullest extent.
The FBI takes these notes extremely serious. They track them down. And if they find it to be fraud,
the FBI does, but he doesn't, because he has to go to a basketball game and he's got to go get his car tuned up. All right. MP Daughtry, I'm going to tell you, it sounds like desperation from the kidnappers. I don't know. And right now there's no connection to anything, but he could just be another person that knew about it and that tried out of desperation to get something. Right, Crazy Jane? How's that? How is that? Right? That's what everyone's saying. People are pissed about this, guys.
They don't just put aside. They will arrest you. They have made arrests. I think they made 2 or 3 arrests already.
Kalela's hearing comes less than 24 hours.
Guys, they did not make arrests. There were 0 arrests in this case. If you were to look up arrests, none. There were people being detained and released. All right? Crazy Jane. What's up, Jet Set? Good to see you. Channel 53. This guy does seem kind of too chill. He messed up the first at least 2 days and then 2 days after. So at least 4 days they lost. The first 24 to 48 hours is the most important. And he's just chilling. Just chilling. you know.
After the FBI issued a statement saying it received several ransom notes over the course of the investigation. Some, like Kalela's, have been ruled illegitimate, but it says others are still being investigated. Sheriff Nanos tells 13 News that imposter notes impede the investigation and exploit the Guthrie family. That's why he urges anyone who's considering doing so to think about the consequences.
Even if they're playing a game, I don't know what mind that is that says this is what I want to do. Don't do it.
If Kalela had been convicted of harassment using a telecommunication device, he faced a maximum penalty of 2 years in prison, a $250,000 fine, or both. Reporting live downtown, Peyton May, 13 News.
Thank you, Peyton May. Does anyone want to buy Peyton May a sandwich? I haven't seen her yet. But anyhow, KOLD, this is the news station that received those first 2 ransom letters. All right. We saw Sheriff warning them. Yeah, whatever. Now, let me bring you quickly to Ashley Banfield. This is pretty much what JLR is talking about. I watched a lot of his stream, and frankly, he's definitely pushing this. I was surprised yesterday, and I didn't know if Ashley Banfield had said the prime suspect of Tommaso being told to her, if she said that again or prior. So let's listen to the clip.
Plural cameras smashed so that the suspect likely knew about the locations of them, but that the car belonging to the sister of Savannah Guthrie, Annie Guthrie, was towed, impounded, and taken into evidence. And this is the wording. It's very important. The wording is very important. He said they now believe the son-in-law may be the prime suspect. Those are the words. Son-in-law may be the prime suspect at this point. And I'm very mindful. I covered the Elizabeth Smart case. I was out in Salt Lake City for 5 weeks while Elizabeth Smart had vanished. And I recall specifically a lot of language saying Ed Smart is likely the prime suspect here. And so you got to be really mindful that, as you know, Megan, you're a lawyer. Police investigations start in the middle of the circle and they go out in concentric, plural cameras smashed so that the suspect likely knew about the locations of them. But that the car belonging to the sister of Savannah Guthrie, Annie Guthrie, was towed, impounded, and taken into evidence. All
right. So that was her initial statement, and Savannah was pissed. The family was pissed. Maybe she shouldn't have said that. But in all actuality, the person that is most that they point the finger at first is the closest to the family. And what are Annie and Tommaso doing now? I'm asking you guys, anyone out there that knows what they're doing now? They were caretaking for her full time, and now they have a second house. So what are they doing? He sobbed the first press briefing, made me think he already knew something or was having some kind of affair with Nancy. That's interesting. Exactly. I can't understand it. Grace, what's up? Bro-in-law or son, I do not think Cameron had anything to do with it. Annie jewelry shop next to Dr. G homeless park. So you think maybe they did that? Okay, so we're looking at a few things. We saw the media release. You guys can go to my X. Everything's on there. You got the clip of this. You don't have to watch the whole thing. And then Kash Patel talking about how they got their days earlier and they couldn't get any data that was sent because there was no subscription, right? And he's responding to Sheriff Nanos because Sheriff Nanos was talking shit. But we know now that a lot of this fault was Sheriff Nanos. Okay, Kash Patel might not be amazing. You might not like him, but those are the 2 people handling this case. All right, so investigators couldn't obtain a DNA profile from the sample recovered. Does that mean the hair isn't that of a suspect? We won't know until the suspect's hair, he says. You don't just destroy it. DNA testing remains a priority. This is what he said. Anything we can grasp onto with the DNA is part of the investigation. This is part of his 30-minute interview. He also says advances in genetic forensics leave him optimistic. And guys, there's still a $1.25 million reward that's unclaimed. All right. This is him at that desk doing his thing, which is nothing. All right. Hair found not linked to suspect. So what does this mean? Hair found not linked to the suspect? There are no official suspects. So I'm not sure what they're saying, how it's not linked. Let me take a look at this. Hold on. That's what I want to know. Has anyone been watching JLR's 12-hour streams on this? I try, but it's just like almost the same thing over and over and just long portions of it. Not linked to suspect. So who did they test it against then? If it's not linked to a suspect, well, there are no suspects or no named suspects. So what does that mean? Oh, let me see what they say. If they say anything.
Sell it.
All right, no more ads. Let's go. Come on.
6 months after Nancy Guthrie was last seen, we are now getting our first look at those ransom notes in the case. The sheriff's office in Arizona releasing the 2 notes received by local media in the days following her disappearance. Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo in the newsroom looking over these notes. Anthony, what do they say?
Well, Mike, investigators say the 2 ransom notes believed to be written by the abductors reveal distinctive patterns of word choice and syntax, and they also provide valuable insight into the person's mindset and motives. The notes, as you said, were sent to local media outlets in February, days after Nancy went missing.
Has anybody watched the profile clip on it? Has anyone seen the John, what is his name? There's a criminal profiler that goes over this case and looks at the ransom notes to give him a profile. So I'm just curious if you've seen that. Kristen, good to see you. Yeah, that doesn't make sense unless they know the suspect. They've never named anyone. Hey, Kristen, keep on working. We'll be here with you. Mo Franjo or Mo Franjo. Did I say that right? All right. Hold on, I'm going to get to something else in a second.
The first note was addressed to Savannah and said, quote, "We have your mother. She is safe, but scared." It demanded a $4 million ransom sent via Bitcoin, adding, quote, "If payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this and her life is in your hands." The second note, sent 4 days later, said, quote, "We did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical condition. We never intended to hurt her. She perished shortly after she was taken. We believe it was heart-related."
I mean, seriously, guys, though, on the real, we're going to break this down next. Right after this, we're going straight to there. All right, we're going straight to the breakdown of the actual text from the first ransom notes. And we're going to go over the verbiage. Guys, this verbiage, I wonder if you put, if somebody that does, the linguistics or the, what do they call that? It's some kind of forensic engineering, but I wonder if they take these, the verbiage and put it into something and match it against well-known people that have writing, because it just doesn't seem like something that some kidnapper, some evil kidnapper that's been stalking for a while would even care that they intended to hurt her or not. Would matter if it was heart related and apologize, buried in nature. Doesn't make sense. None of that makes sense. I wish we could just point at the people that are closest to the case, weed them out, and then continue.
Buried in nature now. Nothing you could have done could have changed the outcome. We want your family to know this and hope you can all find peace. We are truly sorry. Nancy Guthrie was abducted from her home in Tucson on the evening of January 31st. Thus far, the most compelling evidence found by investigators, doorbell video recovered of an unidentified man who knows what happened to Nancy, according to the sheriff's department. Investigators have been grasping at straws for 6 months now, with no break in this case. Savannah continues to take to social media, pleading for information about her mother's whereabouts.
Hold on.
Help us find her. Tell us where to look for her.
All right, we already did this. I'm not going to play it again. It is heartbreaking. I really don't like listening to it over and over, and neither should you. But we're going to go over the ransom note, and I'm trying to look at the verbiage from the poem and get that to you guys. So let's take a look at the first ransom note. Megyn Kelly, actual text of the first ransom note came out. It came out. Oh, this is the first one. Okay, let's take a look.
To this,
like 2 days ago.
Brianna Whitney, because she used to work for one of those 2 Tucson news outlets that did get to see the ransom notes. And while Sheriff Nanos won't release them, still 6 months later, it's like, come on, what are you doing?
Okay, so those are released now. When she said that it hadn't been released yet, all right? And by the way, you guys, hit the like button, subscribe. We're going to be giving away a Guilty of Crime pen, a special pen that that is Tiff has been working on. I'll show it to you in a bit. All right, let's continue. I'm going to try to pull up the other thing too.
She now works for Crime Junkie, which is a podcast network full of great true crime shows. And she's given it up. So God bless her, because it's interesting. And she's seen them. She says she has seen them with her own 2 eyes, which is credible because she was the reporter for one of those local news outlets that did receive both notes. And here she is. Earlier, we had played her describing the second note and we analyzed it. And now she's released what was in the first one. Here it is in SOT 22.
This is how it started. Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom, and once payment is received, she will be released unharmed. We will be holding her for a maximum of 7 days. So they go on then to demand the millions of dollars, and they give the 2 deadlines. But what is key here, I think, is that the money was demanded in USD, so US dollar. Typically, if this is coming from somebody here, you don't say that. You don't say that. This is what it went on to say. Once payment is received to the Bitcoin address below, she will be released within 12 hours of deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson. If the payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., she will be killed.
And again, guys, listen to what she's saying. And you're right, Grace. Why is it addressed to Savannah? Well, we know why. We know Savannah's got the big checkbook, right? She's got the wallet. So we didn't even know that before. We didn't know it was personally addressed to Savannah. Yeah, they absolutely could. And they're working on a genetic genealogy match. But listen, MM Clark, we don't know if it's hair. The first hair that got nothing out of it is already been used to the fullest, is what they said. So we're not going to get anything else from that comparison. But they are doing the genetic genealogy DNA from the crime scene, but we don't know what it is. We don't know if it's whatever. So we can't say. Now, I went over that earlier about the 4 people, up to 4 people, and what that meant. All right, look at her eyes. She's like, whoa.
Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement will not be able to help you.
It's fascinating, right? I mean, it's fascinating to actually hear it read. And the fact that it starts with, hello, Savannah. She's safe but scared, 4 million, blah, blah, blah. Then we see the part that Harvey Levin had been referring to for a while about how he believes that they have her within the Tucson area, because he says she'll be released within 12 hours of deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson if we get the money, basically. Her life is in your hands, in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me. Do not play games. Law enforcement can't help you. So your impression in response to all of that, I'll start with you on it, Chad.
I'm still not buying it. Again, the USD, we talked about that early on. I still personally believe this is some type of organized crime ring, a scam trying to solicit money to the family. Again, some of these, your other guests have a lot.
So he's thinking that this is a scam, but somebody had Nancy when she passed. Somebody took Nancy out of that house. So I really do think that the first 2 letters came from the same person and they wanted to get something out of it. All right. I looked at the flower poem and that, and it's not really saying much because the note just came out. Yeah, I believe the additional notes were diversions, and I don't think that they ever intended to give her back. I think, like they said in the second note, she was already dead. All right. It should not have taken this long. I agree. Midnightlies. But we know the first 24 to 48 hours was compromised because of nanos.
More expertise on like these complex kidnapping cases. But, you know, from an outsider with law enforcement background, it seems too much of like someone just trying to get money and take advantage of a family going through the worst time of their life.
See, that would be Derek Colella. We know Derek Colella did that. He is now going to be facing criminal charges, probably probation and rehab. Yeah. Thank you, Mara. Agreed. Apparently or evidently, I'm sure they know by now about the IP address. They do say that. Do not play games. I'm telling you guys, Annie's poem was stolen. Well, it was written down, even if it was stolen. That's interesting. Do you think they took it to get DNA from it? What do you think? I don't know.
Why?
Think about this. In 2006, $20,000 equaled roughly 33 ounces of gold.
Why are we talking
For
about
buying gold to
No.
receive your free info.
No.
James has been our skeptic on the notes from the beginning. But wait, before I get to James, Will, I want to talk to you because you actually are somebody that we all need to call Will, God forbid somebody gets kidnapped that we know, because Will's master of the dark arts who actually will just get your family member home, don't ask questions for a small fee. You'll be reunited with your loved one, ideally. And he has to read notes like this and figure out whether he should credit them or not. So now that you've heard
What do you
directly
say?
from somebody who's seen it, what
do you say
And
about
secondly
it?
is where kidnapping for ransom, and particularly resolving any kind of ransom that's been demanded, is firstly how that ransom is delivered, and secondly is where the actual hostage is going to be released to. Now, the two parts there are well considered. Firstly, Bitcoin, and secondly, that she would be delivered into the local area, which for myself, I see that as pretty convincing and well considered. The only element we're missing here, and I would love to sit down with that journalist and find out whether she knows the answers to this, is how was that ransom demand delivered in the first place? Because that's going to tell me an awful lot about whether this is professional or whether I would agree with Chad.
Well, we do know.
Another
What do you
opportunity.
mean? We know it's uploaded to TMZ's tip
the
line,
TMZ one.
and then we know and also the two local stations have tip lines. You know, like a news organization. A lot of news organizations have these.
Yeah.
You can go online and you can upload your tip. And we also now do. I actually didn't know this, but apparently you did have to submit an email in order to use one or all of those tip lines. And the person who did upload it did provide an email. And now, just in preparing for today,
and that doesn't mean anything. There's the problem. You can put anything. You can put Nancy Guthrie or nancyguthrie.com. You can write anything you want. All right. I know that's the thing. Savannah's book, they played, kidnapped. Yeah, there's so many things that are pointing to Annie and Tommaso. Guys, that's up next. I promise. The genetic genealogy can help start the framework for narrowing down the identity of people involved. And that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for this almost 1 in a million chance. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I learned that this is from CBS reporting earlier in July, that a Gmail address was entered as the contact email and addressed to Savannah Guthrie. The family worked with the FBI to craft a response, but there was no email back. So clearly this is new. They did try to email that email and didn't get a response.
So that's really interesting. I thought these were potentially ransom demands which had been made through various other conduits. Certainly, we discussed the TMZ ones before. So there are two parts to this, and I think James would be able to answer certainly the federal side in terms of the investigation and the relationships with, say, Google, to be able to interrogate the Gmail account. But setting up a burner Gmail account, that to me sniffs of someone that's not so organized. I don't want to give any viewers ideas of how to deliver a ransom demand by a more secure route, but I certainly wouldn't be using Gmail, because Gmail, even if you set up a burner account, you use various VPNs, they are reasonably traceable, even if it.
So I wonder what they traced back to, number one, and who would use a email? I would have just put I just kidnapped her.com, whatever. I mean, that's dumb, but it doesn't matter what email they use. It matters on the IP. Now, they probably blocked the IP address. You can do any IP address you want. You can say it's coming from Italy if you want to. All right. Other extended people in the family, FBI would have verified email prior to suggesting the letter. Proton Mail is one. Well, they said Gmail. No, I don't know. If he is an FBI agent, he is not the FBI agent in this case.
Is just a singular account that they've set up for the purposes of delivering this ransom demand.
All right, wait, there's more to the first note, as we all know, because the person convinced the FBI that they had Nancy, apparently, by saying specific things about Nancy's home. And Brianna Whitney gets into that too. And, good honor, 6 months, for the love of God. Just tell us what was in the note, and here she does.
Right.
Watch.
And then at the very end, they basically give what we learned in the press conference at the time, that there was something only the abductor would know, which was she had a white smartwatch that was on the floor near her bed, like at the foot of her bed. And then there was this floodlight that was destroyed in the backyard. So those two clues are what gave the FBI kind of the wherewithal to say, this is not a hoax. At least they didn't think so, or they were.
All right, guys. So, I mean, those first two, it's addressed to Savannah. They know what she has. She has got a pocketbook. All right. Yeah, I know. Tommaso was, I'm just saying they could say that. I said, I use that as an example. All right. But they can say anything they want when you block your IP address. You can use somebody else's. You could say you're in Russia, in India, whatever.
Investigating it as possibly legitimate. They still are, by the way.
Now that's, I mean, that's a tough one, because broken floodlight on the outside of a house is something any.
And how would they know that specifically, though? Now, it could be broken by anybody out there. I know. I agree. All of them covered themselves up everywhere. They all are different. So we're going to get to that next, because every time I've done an episode about this, it goes full circle back to Annie and Tommaso and all the connections to them. I can't understand why, and maybe they are being looked at further and they're getting waiting for the results to make sure they've got the right DNA. I don't know.
Anyone going by could see that is, why would they choose that? But look, watch at the foot of the bed is good. That's a good one. White Apple Watch is not that great. I have an Apple Watch on now. It's not that great because we have seen pictures of Nancy wearing the white Apple Watch. We've documented that on this show prior to her abduction. Here's one, but there's multiple shots of her wearing the Apple Watch with the white band. So you could have gleaned that as somebody posing as the kidnapper, just trying to get money.
And I wonder, now that we know for sure that she was dead after the first ransom note and the second, why aren't we trying to why haven't we done searches in the area? Or are they doing searches in the area using drones? I don't know. I haven't seen a boots on the ground anything. She could have easily dropped her watch waiting for ART the next morning before she left the church. It tracks back to the house, though, so I don't think that that's the case, because I do believe that it went back to the house and connected to her pacemaker. So that wouldn't work. Psychics say it's tomato. That's interesting. We're going to that next. I just want to show you what a shit show this is. And while the ransom notes took 6 months to be released, we've got one man that took a plea deal. That's going to happen, I think. What is it, next month or this month? It's almost August. And then Carlos Palazuelos, that's suing them in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. So what? We're going to have two processes out of the way before we even know what happened, before we even know who did anything or have real information. This is all the information that we've had so far. Is this and then this, guys. That's it. This, who's this guy? Look at his eyes. Look at his stance. Look at his this. Look at his that. That's it. And that. And then we have these connections, and some of those people were detained, not arrested, detained. Every one of them that was detained in this picture is connected to Annie and Tommaso. I don't know how that is not super apparent. All right, we're almost done with this.
Family. But if they said it was at the foot of the bed on the floor, and it was, even you, James, you got that would get your attention.
Sure. Hey, good to see you. It would get my attention.
Good to see you too.
Again, you made the great point about the floodlight, and anyone could have seen that. Again, if I am going to go through all this trouble to kidnap this lady and try to get paid, I'm certainly not going to send an email to a local news outlet or TMZ in the hope, in big H, that they're going to get it somehow to Savannah, and Savannah is actually going to believe me, with all the other fake ransom emails that are coming in. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to reach out to her directly, and I'm going to tell her what I want and how to get her mom back. I liked the note. I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty ruthless. Gave no kind of way to go back and forth. I thought that was pretty good. But again, there are a lot of great writers out there. I don't know. It's interesting.
let's just take the last portion that he said. Writers. There are a lot of great writers out there. Now, somebody earlier said about Tommaso, or they didn't say Tommaso's name, but they said maybe he's a teacher and maybe he writes. Who are we discussing? And by the way, Carly, good to see you. We love Carly. All right. So I know I'm telling you, Tucson girl, thank you for saying that, because when this gentleman asked why didn't the ransom note go directly to Savannah, my answer is because they didn't want them to know how close they were. I think if this note would have went directly to Savannah in this format, she might realize, oh shit, my sister or somebody close. All right, yeah, a teacher and a writer, Tommaso. It's a good life insurance. So that's the thing. We have not heard anything. The only information we've had is this and this. That's it. That's all. Right? And then all of these people inserted and detained and let go. That's it. That's all. All right? Seems like so many chatters are like-minded. Occam's razor. Yes. All right. Let's get back to it. All right. Let me show you real quick. So, I mean, JLR's going back there too. All right. June 29 or July 29, a couple days ago, YouTubers, Voices for the Missing, went to Annie and Tommaso's home. They claim it doesn't appear anyone has been home there for quite some time. And we're talking about a large rock pile on their property. Nancy Guthrie was here the night of January 31st. Let you take a look
All
at
that
this.
broken ground.
Hold on.
So here we go. And I think this is the front door. Right there.
Annie and Tommaso's.
Is the front door. So, yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's home either, and doesn't look like they've been home for quite some time.
I kept trying to get Sleuth's attention when he was out here last time. What I want to know is if you drive a little bit further, you go up a little bit, there's a big pile of rocks over here by this tree. I was trying to get his attention. Yeah, you'll look and you'll see that big pile of rocks back there?
Oh, yeah. Look at that, guys.
I was trying to get his attention. I'm like, dude, that's all broken ground right
Well,
there.
hold on.
Go back.
Let me see if I can get it aimed. Hold on one sec. Let me find it first. Hold on, guys.
Agreed.
Right there? Right there. All that broken ground. Interesting, right? What could possibly be under that?
And why is there a chair sitting there? See, there's a chair. Oh, okay. So I guess that's fine. But I was trying to get his attention to see if he can look at that area, but I could never get his attention because he was like not paying attention to his chat.
Yep. All that dirt stuff. Rock. Yeah, exactly.
So where are they? Are they staying at Nancy's house? Who are you? Are you guys watching? Are you watching the JLR and the people that are on the scene? It is just landscaping, but it's suspicious because of what happened. All right. Exactly. All right.
Exactly. What the heck? What is up with that?
All right. So I just kind of want to give you an idea of where the case is headed to now, what's come out, what's new, what's going to happen. First thing that kicked off this week was Savannah pleading again for her mom's return, right? Those ransom letters literally just got put out. And this is the young kid, the 17-year-old kid that Sheriff Nanos let interview him, right? He won't let obviously not Ashley Banfield, and he won't let Brian Etten. He will not give him an interview. But here you go again, guys. I mean, this was July 30th. It got put up again, right? Random thought. Now that we know Annie and Tommaso were daily caregivers for Nancy, what if they hired help while they went on vacation? For instance, wasn't there rumors they were going to attend the Olympics with Savannah? Someone to stay in the casita and help Nancy. Maybe the person had initially interviewed at Andy and Tommaso's house, then driven over to Nancy's. Now, this sounds like a stretch, but but then I look at this picture and I'm like, guys, why are they hiding? Why have they been hiding? I can't understand any of this. All right. So, I mean, this case just keeps going back in a circle. Let's do this. Now, I've given you a lot of the facts. We're still going to get into the Carlos Palazuelos and his actual claim, the paperwork that shows he's suing Pima County. All right. But I don't want to interrupt this. So let's get to it. Savannah always says more if we take the time to listen. Let's go.
The two, I tend to believe those are real. And
now,
the fact that the first note began with "Hello, Savannah" would actually make a lot of sense, to Tracy's point. Such a simple deduction, right? Which is why it's beautiful to me. She would go on to further theorize that the reason why the local news stations would have it, that was all planned out by the FBI.
What?
Okay, so they would transmit it to those local media outlets as though it was coming from the culprit. Now, here's where you would ask, why would they need to do this? Then you'd also have to understand where Tracy is coming from and how she feels that Savannah actually knows who she's corresponding with. All of this conveyed with the FBI, but they don't have actual proof.
I absolutely think that they purposely went through the news station and then TMZ to get your attention, my attention, everybody's attention to detract from what actually happened and who did it. Because they knew if they sent this letter to Savannah directly, to be like, whoa, how'd you go to her directly? Even though it says Dear Savannah, right? I think it was absolutely all a strategy in the way they did it.
Hope here is that funneling these letters through the media would get that person to slip up by asking something like, oh, I thought the letter was sent to you, which is something they should have never known, right? A kidnap for ransom addressed to Savannah being sent to Savannah sounds a lot more plausible if we were reading this in a story or whatever, right? Than a ransom sent via the media, because as we know, things like this want to be under wraps, as covert as possible. It's a theory, and I respect it. So I feel that a sign that a case is not going the way investigators want it to go is when they run the same play from that same playbook again. And in this case, it's having Savannah, posting a plea video on her Instagram, trying to tug on the abductor's heartstrings. Again.
And guys, this is the, third or fourth that she's come. I think probably more like 4 on the upper side. Exactly, Peekaboo. Exactly. Well, they knew Savannah had the money, but I cannot for the life of me wonder why you'd send a kidnapping letter or a ransom letter 2 days late as an afterthought and then go on to tell them that she's dead right after that and still go and ask for the money. Like, hey, I know she's dead. She perished away because of her heart. It's not your fault, but I'd still like you to pay me for her, right? Not I'll tell you where the body is. No, the body, they say, was out there, was buried in nature, whatever. All right. I'm hoping that we are close. I know, me too. And you keep saying arrest. Everybody keeps saying arrest because we believe that more than ever, there are more than one people. No, not at all. They said, listen, Savannah put out a message in the very beginning when Ashley Banfield named Andy and Tommaso. All right. And she said, you guys will be sued. We will sue you if you keep talking about and throwing shade at Andy and Tommaso. So nobody ever analyzed any of that. They don't want to get sued, guys.
Right? Hoping to rationalize with this monster's
Really?
humanity, I guess you could say, in order to find her mother, right? Whatever it takes. Now, I personally believe that Savannah, her PR team, and the FBI are in lockstep with each other. One doesn't move without the other, and they, I guess, all agreed it was time to execute that same play again, because look at what they achieved last time, right? They received, in response to the siblings' first plea video on February 4th, a full-out heartfelt apology, admitting that Nancy had died buried with nature going as far as to absolve the family of any guilt. And at this point, I strongly feel, Ransom letter number 1 and 2 are being taken very seriously because they have proven themselves to be real, right? The clues that were given, I don't think they're telling us all of it. I mean, the Apple Watch being on the floor is just the one that they chose to share with us, but there might have been more details in that letter. I think you will find that Savannah's latest video will prove that point. So let's go ahead and watch Savannah's plea video in its entirety.
I'm coming on today with a very specific message.
All right, this is the new message that came out on Monday. All right, we got to look at it and see what hidden messages, who she may be talking to, etc., etc. Lynn Taylor, welcome. We have 170 people in chat. Can we get can we get 170 likes? Let me show you real quick. After this, really cool. I love everything that Tiff puts out. So there we go. She makes these pens. As a matter of fact, you may have seen these cute little pens on other platforms, but Tiff is the one that started doing this, and I'll just say they copied her. All right, so that we're gonna give that away at the end of the show today. I am gonna gift memberships right now while we're here. Hit the like button and drop a comment. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. All right, I agree. Bodies close, construction. Remember the weird story of Savannah saying they had moved in the middle of the night? Yes, she did say that, and that's because of the death threats towards Annie and Tommaso and the family.
It has been months since our mom was taken from us. Our family is in agony. We are in a nightmare that will not end. Nothing about our situation has changed. We have done our part, and we will never stop looking for her.
Right?
We will always ache for her and feel that hole in our hearts. The world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, and I know that you have tried to do things the right way. So I'm asking you, begging you to do the right thing now. Make the right choice. Help us find her. Tell us where to look for her. I truly believe it is never too late to do the right thing. Help us bring this situation to an end. For all of us, no matter where we've been and what we've done, I believe there is always a way home. Please make the right choice.
So from the very start, okay, she says that she's coming on with a very specific message, and that very specific message is to the writer, okay, to do the right thing, make the right choice. So the whole of this message is mostly directed at author of letter number 2. And I say it this way because many of us, okay, me included, feel that they are not the same person. Okay? We have to keep that open because writer of letter number 1 is definitely just more callous because we have what appears to be a personality clash here. Okay, so you have writer number 1, and he is like a shark.
Now, guy, you're right. I mean, he's saying what all of us might be thinking. We were saying Annie and Tommaso, so it's almost like the first letter was cold and calculated and written by a man that just wants their money, doesn't give two shits about Savannah or the family. And then the second letter comes in, sent from the same person, allegedly, which how would anyone else know, right? No one else would know what email address they faked and all the other things. So that being said, we're looking at maybe 2 different people writing it, but a couple of people. We've always thought there was more than one person. All right. And life insurance for an 84-year-old woman would be very expensive. So I don't know if she has one. I haven't heard anything about that at all whatsoever. Jersey, happy birthday to you, my fellow Leo. All right.
He is all business. Here's the proof that I was there at the crime scene. Give us the money or she's dead, right? No heart. And unfortunately, the greatest, I guess, overlook in kidnap and ransom history, not providing any proof of life. Okay, so I'm going to explain very shortly why I now believe that letter number 1 was just throwing it out there on the off chance that the proof of life might be overlooked by Savannah as well, in hopes that that Bitcoin address that was provided would just fill up with $4 million. Okay, because I want you to think about this. letter writer number 1 was operating on a lie, that Nancy was still alive and scared. Now,
True.
why is that a lie? Now, I feel to make this point hit harder is for you guys to ask yourself, well, who would you rather believe, okay? The cold, callous character behind letter number 1 or the apologetic, sympathetic character behind
number 2? Very interesting. And I do wonder if they think that it was 2 people. Yeah, 2 people, Annie and Tommaso, right? I wonder if anybody's saying that's investigating it. They're certainly not saying that publicly. Yeah, Stephanie, that would be super expensive if she's still on life insurance or if anybody had it taken out on her. But I feel like we would know now. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Texas Angel. I'm not seeing that at all. But what I do see is an opportunity to take over the house, to take over her estate, to take over everything that they had already taken over, except without Nancy, without having to take care of her. Okay? Again, I just keep coming back to that. And so do y'all.
note number 2. What did letter writer number 2 say about Nancy? That she died shortly after she was abducted. So
that's crazy.
Ask yourself again, what would you rather believe? This clever criminal coming up with this well-planned out kidnapping and ransom just happens to forget one of the most crucial parts in the negotiation, which is proof of life, or that person just left it out. Because at that point, Nancy had already died and he just couldn't provide that proof anymore. And it would make a lot more sense to believe number 2, not because we believe that the tone is sincere, because at the same time, we must never forget.
I'm going to say this before he even does, not because of the tone, but because of the information that the letter number 1 had. And then the number 2, I feel like the sympathy is coming from somebody that's close to the family. Okay, let's just take A&T out of the whole picture. Why would anyone want to make Savannah feel better about herself, that she didn't mess up? It was the kidnappers that took her, and her heart just failed and she died. They're sorry, but she's buried with nature now, if it makes you feel any better. Yes, power of attorney. Thank you. I couldn't think of that. I did talk about that in the beginning. Savannah Wood Crater. And I think that she was working with law enforcement. Well, she was working with law enforcement, FBI, and hostage negotiators that told her if she dishes out all the money, she'll never see the money or anybody again. All right. It was 2 people. FBI profiler. Okay. All right. We're going to get to that. Let's continue. Thank you.
This person is a part of an abduction of an 84-year-old woman in the middle of the night. It's simply because we know that the ransom notes came in the following day on the 2nd at 5 p.m. to KOLD. And Nancy was potentially removed from her house, at 2:28 a.m. without her meds, that she could not survive or would have a hard time doing so if she had to last 24 hours without them. Now,
so that first one was a complete lie. And you know that because you see that it didn't get to them for almost 2 days, that it was just an afterthought. It's like, it's almost like they went in there to just eliminate Nancy Guthrie. There wasn't a safe or anything tangible that they can take out of the house that'd be worth money. But the end goal was to be power of attorney, to take over, in my opinion. Yes, you're right, Stephanie. She didn't make it much longer after they kidnapped her. And they said that. All right. This keeps going back.
Now, by the time the first ransom note came in, that's 38 hours and 32 minutes, folks. Nancy most likely had already perished when note number 1 was claiming she was alive and scared, operating on a lie. And that's when they received a message that, to me, should have never existed, right? And that would be written by writer number 2, responding when there was no need to respond when the family asked for what they couldn't provide, which was proof of life, okay? And then writer 2 let it be known that Nancy perished shortly after being taken. And I think that was just honesty. And why I would tend to believe that Savannah's most recent plea video is only to address the writer of note number 2, who showed some humanity, to let Savannah know that her mom had passed away, that
Now, guys, I want you to realize that Savannah knows what she's doing, and she is purposely, in my opinion, looking rough because she doesn't want somebody not to sympathize with her. Okay. Yeah, we don't have that proof, but what did come back was her pacemaker, and it went back to the house. So I don't know how, if she was already, if what you're saying, boss lady OG, is that she was already, she was dead. They went back to the house and they took her to make sure. I don't know. How would they have gotten the pacemaker to sync back up if she never made it home? So that's not jiving for me. Yeah, right. And you're right, Vivian, 110%. You're absolutely right. But I've looked into this, and you can absolutely file for, a temporary, I don't know what it would be called. You could be a temporary, was it a person? I don't want to say person of interest, but okay, listen, Annie and Tommaso were the caretakers, power of attorney. You could certainly be a temporary power of attorney because you don't want the house getting in foreclosure. If you owe tax money, you don't want the pool turning green from the algae. You don't want the lawn. You know what I'm saying? It needs upkeep in that house. So she never made it home. But how didn't she make it home when her pacemaker matched up to the house? Everything showed that. They showed it at 2 a.m. when they came in, and her heart spiked. The only way that would happen is if you were using it, if you had it outside her body and she was, doesn't make sense. It's just not jiving with me. I'm sorry, but I just can't. Yeah, special circumstances, you could be a power of attorney so that the house doesn't get taken, the cars get repoed, etc., etc. Yeah, exactly. 110%.
She was buried with nature. And like I mentioned before, that it makes me feel that this writer has a soft spot for Savannah. Was this person helping Savannah come to grips with losing her mother, right? Forever, so that she could start the grieving process and not have to wonder, as well as.
So what that would mean, Jersey, is that Nancy was dead at their house, and then they took Nancy's body back to her house to make the pacemaker sync up with the watch. It shows the location. So I don't think that's the case. And that's what they're trying to allude to, is that she died naturally. She had a heart attack or something like that. Yeah, a strategy, 110% a strategy.
Letting everybody know that Nancy is dead. I added that in again because you guys know that I believe that the purpose of this note that should never have existed really is to accelerate the idea that Nancy is dead. Going back to the humanity part of letter number 2, Savannah did say that it is the not knowing what happened to her mother that is killing her, eating her alive. Well,
and so then they come on and tell her. And another thing, what are we talking about right now? We're talking about a power of attorney. We're talking about somebody needing to take care of the house, the money, the finances. What's the only way you could do that? If you declare somebody dead, or law enforcement declares them dead. Okay, so law enforcement says, look at this ransom note. It's been 6 months, almost 6 months since the first note came out. And I can't. Hold on. Let me play for this for a second. Hold on.
Here comes writer number 2. And that person is saying, here you go, Savannah. If it eases your mind just a little bit, just know that your mother has died and that she is no longer in pain and that she is with God. I won't go as far as to say that letter writer number 2 is being completely truthful, but no doubt more compassionate than the monster that wrote letter 1. So the part of the letter that would make no sense to lie about would be that Nancy is dead, because that closes the channel for a kidnapping ransom, almost, if not completely, right? And a large part of me believes that absolving guilt for the family, mainly Savannah, well, now I tend to believe that the sentiment is real. And here is why. So in this latest plea video, Savannah touches on the family's agony. Remember, I had a video called Exclusion, touching on how Annie's memorial card, with that odd jaguar painting drawing, was written to be inclusive, because the body of the letter, even though it was unnecessarily dark and.
All right, guys, here we go. So look at here. We have a handwritten letter. And what do you know? We're looking at it on the screen so that we can so we can compare it, right? Perished, all these weird words that no kidnapper would be like, yeah, she's buried in nature now. You didn't do anything wrong. And by the way, she's dead. Why don't we get it moving along to just transfer the house already? All right, let's go. Nobody's ruled out. Remember that. They've now doubled back around and said nobody's ruled out. Okay, let's look at this. We miss you so much, Mama. Our hearts are broken. We're standing on ash, on scorched earth. Look at this writing. Guys, who talks like that other than Annie and Tommaso? What the hell? I've never heard anyone saying something. Mama, we miss you. Our hearts are broken. Ash. We're standing on ash and scorched earth. But Mom, though we are surrounded by so much darkness and uncertainty, our love burns. This sounds like complete and utter bullshit.
Grim, the message was clear, okay, that they were sad and of how much they loved Nancy. Then at the end of that letter, as almost an afterthought, someone came in and signed it, okay, in what I still believe is different penmanship, okay, and signing it for Annie, Tommaso, and Omo, now making an inclusive letter exclusive to just them. That card would have been much more effective if it was just left open-ended, okay, speaking for everyone that loved Nancy. I mean, her brother, right?
I mean, guys, that was so not sincere to me. Hey, Truth Sleuth 100, good to see you here. If you're leaving, do me a favor, hit that like button for me, would you? Who would write that, guys? Did that really look like it came from the depth of her soul and she just misses her mom so much? Or does she just talk like that? Has anyone heard her? We've heard her talk in the very first plea to the kidnappers, but she acted really weird. And did you see that? I'll go back for a second. I think a lot of people completely missed that. Look at this shit. Okay, so we're looking at Monk's intrigue. You guys all know him by now. Okay. A lot of times in his videos, he points at A&T. Now he knows, and we've heard him talk about the fact that Savannah said she would sue people if they continue to do the death threats and saying that the A&T did A&T, blah 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 blah. Right? So Monks has done lots and lots of videos. We can sit here for probably another 6 hours watching his videos that focus on A&T. Now look at this. This is the Annie's Scorched Earth card. Who writes that? This is the card or the letter, whatever the hell you call it, that she left at the memorial for her mom.
Written to be inclusive, because the body of the letter, even though it was unnecessarily.
All right, there it is for a minute, in case you guys didn't see it. And if you look at the bottom, that's their son. There's a signature on the bottom. It looks like somebody wrote the letter. Like one person wrote the letter and then somebody else signed it. That's what it looks like to me. All right. It is. It's Annie, but look at the writing up top and then look at the Annie, Tommaso, and Omo name. It looks like somebody wrote it out and then a different person signed it. Right? There's 3 people on there, by the way. You think the perpetrator is trying to emulate A&T? I don't know if they're that smart, but perished people write scorched. Right? There it is, guys. So, yeah, they have a teenage kid. People even said that they think he did it, but I absolutely would never put that into the public. So that's a card. That's a handmade card by Annie that she left at the memorial in front of her mom's house. Mama, we miss you so much. Our hearts are broken. We're standing on ash on scorched earth. But Mom, though we are surrounded by so much darkness and uncertainty, our love burns bright. We love you, Mommy. We miss you so much. Our best friend, Annie, Tommaso, and Omo. Just saying. All right.
Dark and grim, the message was clear, okay, that they were sad and of how much they loved Nancy. Then at the end of that letter, as almost an afterthought, someone came in and signed it. Okay, in what I still believe is different penmanship, okay, and signing it for Annie, Tommaso, and Omo, now making an inclusive letter exclusive to just them. That card would have been much more effective if it was just left open-ended, okay? Speaking for everyone that loved Nancy. I mean, her brother, right? Cameron didn't do the memorial walk that day. Now, whether that's by choice.
Now, guys, why do we keep coming back to this scene? Why do we keep trying to look at Tommaso's gate? Guys, what are we looking at here? Why are we looking at Tommaso? And I didn't even realize that before because he kept covering his damn face. Look at how trimmed his beard is. That's the most trimmed that it's in any pictures. Now, mind you, he covered his face time and time again. All right. This is what he looked like in the pictures that we could see. If you look down there on the very bottom, very bottom right or left, I'm sorry, his beard was usually long in most of his pictures. It's all trimmed up. His face is showing, and the gate, right? Remember the gate. Why do we keep coming back to that? All right, let's get back to this. And the over dramatics. Oh, mom. You remember that? Her pleading. All right, let's get this back.
Or he just couldn't. I can't imagine that it wouldn't have been heartwarming for him and his family to be included.
That's a note
if
right
only
there.
vicariously through that card, right? Now, the part that would jump out to most people would be when she says, you have tried to do the right thing. Do things the right way. Similar meaning, right? Okay. That, ladies and gentlemen, has to be directly addressing the second note writer, right? If ever there was a ransom letter writer, right, trying to do the right thing, then hey, letter number 2, I think we have a winner. When someone who is supposed to be an evil monster allows themselves to be vulnerable for whatever reason. If I was, that grieving family member in need of answers, I'm doing whatever it takes to keep that line of communication with that person open, because who knows, right? That might be as close as I'll ever be again to getting those answers. So behind the scenes, I can't imagine Savannah and her family not desperately.
And guys, that picture, it just keeps coming back around. And people are like, no way Tommaso would be that bold to just go up there and do it himself. Throw an extra pair of clothes on top of another one, tuck his arms in, tuck his damn beard in. Hence the duck walk and the damn beanie that looks like it's way too overstuffed. Could he really have done that? Could that be possible?
Trying to get answers from that line of communication with the FBI's help in the background. And it had to have been to no avail. That person probably ghosted him after letter number 2, or else why would Savannah even, need to come out 3.5 months later with this new plea video? Now, here's something intriguing that hit a lot of us about the way Savannah addresses this person, okay? First, let me say that it might be just the way Savannah is, right? I don't know her personally. You most likely don't know her personally as well. Or maybe it's a way she was told or devised to connect, to find a rapport, right, with letter writer number 2. But the point is, reminiscent of her past video, the one where she looks like she's just sitting in her backyard, many of us felt that she was talking as if it was to someone that she knew, okay? Her latest statement is,
the world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, and I know that you have tried to do things the right way.
Now, to me, that's something you would say to someone going through something hard as a way to console them, okay?
Yep.
So I would feel that message is a simple preface to impact what she actually wants them to feel.
Now, do you guys think that anything has changed between the family and how often, let's say, Savannah and her sister talk, or Savannah and Tommaso call each other up? Do you think any of that has changed at all? Because whoever Savannah is pleading to, it's like it's in her mind, she thinks she knows who she's pleading to, and those words, the words that she's saying. Yeah, I know. We don't want suing. Everyone's suing.
And understand that she knows that he or she tried to do things the right way. Definitely. That was addressed to the writer of letter number 2. To me, at least, that would only make sense if it's a statement for someone that she's had some experience with. Does it not? Okay, just hear it again.
The world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, and I know that you have tried to do things the right way.
She says, I know you have tried to do things the right way. And I know is pretty definitive, especially if you're talking to a stranger, because how much can you know from a couple of letters from a stranger who seems to be bipolar? Now, this leads me to believe one of two things, okay? That Savannah has had further exchanges with this person, or she knows exactly.
A bipolar kidnapper. Yes. Scorched ash and burnt strange. How does she know the kidnapper has or hasn't done? Exactly. Exactly. Oh my goodness, we're getting there. 2 years. My pastor calls me Mish. Woo! I'm here because of you, my badass friend. Thank you for all you do. Love you, madly. Well, thank you for being a freaking member for 24 months. I think that's probably the longest that you could be between you, Carly, and Sadie's mama. I'm not alone. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. All right. Let's continue. I think the kids seem all to have separate lives. Yeah, they did. I mean, listen, Retha, why did it take so long for them to call Savannah? All right. And then once they did, oh, don't worry, we already called it in. There's a huge lag in time there. And he even does a video. I think, who does a video of that? I think it's actually the judge guy, the older guy that's a judge. He did a video on what that time frame would mean. Why is there such a large gap in the time frame? But I'm just asking you, what do you guys think?
Who she's addressing, okay? She asks this person to help us find her, tell us where to look for her. Now, does that sound to you like Savannah only tends to believe that these ransom notes are real? Okay. I mean, to me, guys, she knows it's real, okay? If she's talking this way.
For all of us, no matter where we've been and what we've done.
Look at that.
I believe there is always a way home.
See,
please make the right choice.
And we all know by now, okay, that Savannah is a very religious person, just like her mother taught her to be. And one of the main tenets of, the Christian faith is forgiveness. I bet that forgiveness would be the core of any correspondence that we are not privy to with this person, okay? For Savannah to say there is always a way home is interesting, is it not? Because it makes me wonder if that is just a religious proverb or simply encouragement for someone that she might know to end this charade that they're already forgiven, that they'll always have a home, maybe in Savannah's heart, a safe space.
It definitely does sound like that. Like, hey, I'm not going to judge you too hard. Just come forward, man. We want to know where our mother is, right? I gotta know it. Thank you so much for the $5 towards our goal. And that was nice of you. Listening to you is like being in my own head. 17 crimes and 1,000 facts. Thank you. Well, you're very welcome. Now you see what's in my head all damn day. All day when I'm working, guys. Even though I do have Tiff and Synth and everybody to help me, I'm right along with them doing the research so I don't get caught with my pants down, so to speak. All right. The act, if he just took drugs or sold drugs and didn't get punished, they don't act like that. It's a very serious crime, right? Leos use a phrase like "I know" when trying to influence a suspect. Either to them, they feel they empathize with the suspect, or pressure. I know shit goes sideways sometimes, right? Kittens in crime. Hey, your input is valued here. Thank you.
That this person will always be loved in if they ever have a chance to come back. My name is Monks. Now, if you guys, again, would like to see me be awkward for an hour or so, fumble my way through a live interview again, then you're in luck, because I have been invited onto the Crime Crunchies podcast this Thursday, 7 p.m. PST, okay? And we have the lovely host, Courtney.
I have big news. I just heard from Monk's Intrigue, and
Monk's Intrigue is amazing, right? Go sub to him if you haven't, but I hate to do this to you, but I have to real quick play the Sheriff Nanos interview, and it's only a part of it, but guys, I don't know. Please tell me. I know you guys have probably been watching JLR or whoever since yesterday, but this Pima County sheriff that discusses the Guthrie investigation at 6 months, who is interviewing him in this? Is it a part of a clip from John V? There was only 676 views, and it's a freaking 8-minute video, and it doesn't say who the damn interviewer is. Anyway, I'm going to play this, listen for a minute, and I'm going to come back around. We've got more. I know we're at the 2-hour mark, but guys, I'm not finished yet. All right.
6 months into the investigation into Nancy Guthrie's
Who
disappearance.
is it?
Are we any closer today than we were, say, a month ago even?
I believe we are. I think that based on what we've learned from the scene and all the evidence we've removed from there, to include the DNA and the video analysis, all of that work, and all the tips. Yes, I think we continue to work further and further along. We're not where we need to be or want to be, but progress is being made.
It is.
What would you say is the biggest misconception from the public about this investigation right now?
You know, well, I think I know they're frustrated. I see the comments and I understand it. I understand the media's frustrations. My team, the investigators, the family. But I'll be honest with you, their frustration is based on what they don't know. And that's part of this. We're here today, and I know that you guys are going to get hammered, right? Oh, that was a waste of an interview. They didn't give us any new information. The purpose of this interview wasn't to give you new information. It was to tell you where we're at in the investigation. And that is, we have gathered a lot of evidence in this case. And I wish you knew it. I wish the community could know all the evidence. But that's just not how investigations work. Whether it's this case or any case, we have an obligation, we have a duty and responsibility to protect that case and its integrity and use, I liken it to having guardrails. You have to stay within those boundaries for a variety of reasons, but mainly because, you know, we want to, one, to make sure our victims, we've protected their rights, but also the accused. You know, someday down the road, we hope to make an arrest on this case. And when we do, shame on us should a court say, wow, you got this evidence unlawfully, or you did this wrong. And so we're extraordinarily careful, not on just this case, on any case, in preserving the information we hold. And it's not sheriff's hiding stuff or, oh, it's a cover up. It really isn't. It's about, we have a duty and responsibility to the judicial system, the process we have in this country, to making sure.
Guys, do me a favor, keep complimenting me in chat. That person is getting so upset, and they've got multiple names: Vincent Morello, Vincent, Vincent 1, Vincent, Steve. Guys, come on, it's pissing them off to the fullest extent. They spent their time to create these accounts just to get banned. Come on. But yes, I did not hear this one. It's a woman interviewing him, and I'm like, who did this? How come I didn't see this one? You guys see that? So funny. Vincent sure likes farts and sticking things up their butt. Yes, it's different ones, though. It's Vincent Murillo, Vincent, blah, 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 blah. They get so upset. They can't stand the compliments, right? Hey, Vincent. Come on, come with your best shot. Let's go.
Sure that fairness exists when there is a time for a trial. And that's all that is. Man, I wish you could be in the room when I'm interviewing or talking to those investigators from the FBI and my team.
Yes.
And just see the energy they have. They're still feeling pretty pumped up and charged, which gives me hope, because I know this team. I know they're very talented and skilled, and their knowledge, just sitting there listening to them. I don't have any great pearls of wisdom. I sit there and listen to them and watch and come away, as I think you would, that, wow, this is a bright, talented group. They're going to get somewhere with this case. We know they will. You know, I have a lot of confidence in that, but not just based on what I see and what I know, the evidence, but in what we've seen in the past from this team. You know, I don't know that there's many agencies that service 1 million people.
You know, most people deflect. All right. So Vinny, Steve, Athena. What are the other names? We got some Athenas in the house. We got some Kristens in the house. Should I throw last names as well? Anyhow, you know, people deflect. And when they're talking about sticking cars up their butt, that's probably what they just did. So let me, I'm going to ban them. So if you guys let me Don't time them out. That way I can ban them. They have to make another account. I just texted you guys, but please let me do it. I enjoy it tonight. I like troll hunting. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. It's not even phasing me. I just think it's so funny. I would love for Athena or Kristen or BB Ghoul or any of those girls to say that to my face. You think they would? Nah. All right, let's continue.
9,200 square miles, 1,500 employees that can come out and say, you know, in 2025, we had a 100% clearance rate in our homicides. In 2024, we had a 100% clearance rate in our homicides. Today, 6 months into this year, we're at 100%. That's pretty remarkable, considering all the case. 200,000 calls come in this agency a year, and yet we do the work we do. And yes, this is a very important case, but all of our cases are important. All of them mean something to not just us and the victims and the community we serve, but to the judicial system. I hear the white noise. I understand it. People have opinions. That's okay. The experts, the pundits, if you will, and they very well may be experts. But if they're really experts, they would tell you one thing. We don't know what the sheriff's department knows. And they don't. And so
has anyone gathered anything really valuable? I'm going to finish playing it because I had not seen this anywhere else. I don't know if it's a portion of it. I don't know. It's a female. I don't know who the female is that's interviewing him or any of that. Yeah. No, Walmart, Best Buy. No, for real. Vincent is a Walmart, is a Best Buy worker, Deb. Right? Vinny works at Best Buy. And so does Steve. But there's other jobs too. Yes, Lazy Days 567. You're absolutely right. Not only Sheriff Nanos, but the person in the forefront of this he hired them back, and they don't have any experience. They're newbies. Vinny needs attention. Poor baby troll. I know it sucks working at Best Buy though, man. When you work at Best Buy and you got to be customer service with a name tag all day, because you know what I'm saying. Your IQ can't be higher than like 70 to work at a place like that and then make a bunch of accounts to troll. Just saying. No offense to anyone else.
To speculate or guess, or I understand that's all part of it, but we work on the facts. We work on what is right in front of us.
No, you
what
don't.
We know. And from there, we allow that evidence to lead us through this investigation.
And Sheriff, what would you say is the biggest obstacle preventing an arrest right now?
Well, I think there's a number of things going on here. One is our ability to get through the DNA that's in front of us. But that's pretty typical. Our labs work. There's something encouraging. Our labs work together.
No,
it's not just the Sheriff's Department lab or the FBI lab. I am amazed that labs across this country know and understand what they have in front of them in this evidence, and they talk to each other and they collaborate with one another. I think you have some of the greatest minds working this case, not just in DNA and science like that, not just in my team or the FBI, but even corporate America has stepped up and said, hey, Sheriff, we might be able to help you with this analysis, or we might be able to help you with this. So I am positive. Maybe I'm the ultimate optimist.
He doesn't even finish what he's saying. I see some YouTube creators that do this, and they got a good following, but he literally changes from sentence to sentence. He hasn't really stopped much to think about what he's saying. And then he said, oh yeah, I'm very optimistic. I might be well over optimistic, but, and then he doesn't even finish. Does anyone notice he's not even finishing what the hell he's saying? What? I like that. Nano douche. Wah, 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 wah. All right, let's finish. I'm not done here, so come on, let's get in. Let's finish this. We got 2 minutes left, and then we'll move on. I have not even got to the two people, Daniel Maddox and Carlos Palazuela, that as well as Maddox's mother, that are suing for $3.25 million. All right, so I want to get into that because I don't even know who Maddox is. All right. Oh my God. Yeah, thank you for putting that up, Synth. I'm going to continue this. I was just going through that and I was like, wow, that was pretty good.
But I feel certain that we are getting somewhere each and every day. It's not as lightning fast as we all want it, but it's, people ask, is this case a cold case? Furthest from that. There's so much evidence in front of us. It just takes time.
And at the beginning, there was a lot going on. We had multiple people who were detained and released.
Mhm.
Are you able to touch on what led you all to them to begin with at the beginning of this
Well,
investigation?
what I would say is we had information, whether it be a crime tip or a video or something that led us to those individuals that said, hey, this is somebody you should look at. We were able to develop enough probable cause where we could present to a judge and say, Your Honor, we think there may be something here. And more importantly, we were also looking for Nancy. Maybe Nancy's here. And so a judge signed those warrants and we went in, took the evidence. Number one, Nancy wasn't there. That was good. But number two,
What are you saying?
we were able to, for that time and for today, say, all right, we have the information we have. We've got the evidence we have. We don't know that these people are involved, so we release them, which is what you would want to do, right? If there's not probable cause, you release people. But that doesn't mean they're clear, they didn't do anything, or we don't know that. It's like everybody asks, well, Sheriff, have you cleared everybody? And no, what we do is, because we've cleared somebody, doesn't mean that a day from now, 6 months from now, something else will come.
So this is what he's saying, and I got to translate this just for a moment. Come on, FBI, cross all the T's and A's already. Now listen, he just told us that nobody's ruled out. All right, we are we are having fun with these dumbass trolls, but listen, what he literally just said, and I say this, I'll say the same damn thing, right? I covered the Nolan Wells case yesterday, right? And everyone was mad. There's a lot of people mad saying I'm racist, blah, blah, blah. If that case comes back and the friends did do something, I will say, my bad. I pegged it wrong. There wasn't enough evidence for me to come to that conclusion. He's not saying that. What he's saying is nobody's ruled out. But he just brought it back to, well, if it comes up in 6 months from now, then we're going to. So he's talking about Annie and effing Tommaso. Did you hear what he said? I know it's blah, 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 but he did say something there. He said, if it comes back around, then so be it. Look, from now, 6 months, something else will, he's talking about it changing. And then somebody that he said isn't in it, they're ruled out.
Come up and say, oh,
look,
wait a minute.
call them up and say, wait
That's
a minute.
That gray car or that blue truck.
See?
Now it might take us back there and we have to go and reevaluate. That's every investigation. All the video analysis we have videos from thousands of places. And you go, well, how can you possibly review 10,000 videos? And what does it tell you? Well, what it tells us is we have to compartmentalize it, have to categorize it. Maybe we have a blue truck and all the blue trucks are over here. And that someday, maybe when we arrest somebody, we can go, he has a blue truck, didn't we?
You see, that's what he's saying, though. It has been 6 months, and that's why he used that 6 month mark to say, well, I cleared them initially because the family didn't want to be, but he doesn't say it clearly at all. Yes, you have to separate the chicken from the shit and from the chicken salad. That's why we don't know exactly what he
something about a blue truck and go back to it.
Something about a truck.
Evidence, though, he is saying this is far from a cold case.
What happened there? How did it just turn? I guess that was meant to be, huh? Where'd it go? All right. Well, they didn't want to.
Case. He is still calling on the public for help. Anyone with information is asked to contact the number there on the screen, Matt.
Thank you, Jonathan. Of course.
All right, it cut out. I don't know what happened, but you heard what they're saying. Now, let me show you something, and then we're going to talk about again. We're going to get into the no ruling anyone out. But before we do that, I'm going to save myself from reading a ton. This is Carlos Palazuelos that is suing, and it's more than just him. Carlos Palazuelos, Daniel Maddox, and Maddox's mother, Josephina, they issued a notice of claim against Pima County. They're suing for $3.25 million. And here's some of what they're saying in the lawsuit. All right. And then we're going to get back to the no ruling out and who it's going back around to.
Lawsuit. It's a precursor to a lawsuit known as a notice of claim. The attorney filed it on behalf of Carlos Palazuelos and two of his family members who briefly got mixed up in the Guthrie investigation back in February. They say they have not been able to escape the cloud of unwarranted suspicion ever since.
They just told me, stop moving. Like, what's your name? Carlos. And that's it. He put me in the popcorn.
The notice of claim states on February 10th, deputies pointed guns at Carlos Palazuelos and detained him for about 7 hours in Rio Rico without probable cause. Meanwhile, deputies detained his nephew Daniel and searched his mother-in-law, Josefina Maddox's home. The claim states they damaged her home in the process.
And I told them, you can go in and search the house. There's nobody there. I have nothing to hide. There's nobody in my house. And I don't know what's going on.
Their attorney, Jesse Showalter, says this caused the three of them emotional, physical, and reputational harm. The family feels like they're under public scrutiny every time they step out of the house.
Whatever this purported evidence was that the sheriff's department used to obtain the search warrant, it's wrong. It's not good evidence.
And that's what I thought from the very beginning. I said, what in the hell? Yeah, one is the mother-in-law. I just don't know who the other male is. I don't know who Maddox, the Daniel Maddox. I know Carlos Palazuelo and the mother, Josefina, but I didn't know her name was Josefina, and she was the mother of Daniel Maddox. So I looked for him, and I can't find anything. There are no pictures or anything, but you can't get an emergency search warrant without some kind of tangible evidence. All right. He was not reelected again. Let me clear that up. He was not reelected. However, when they did a vote to kick Nanos out, they said, let's just keep him. That's basically, maybe they did have a vote, but they kept him. They didn't re-vote. He didn't have another election. They just decided. All right. They decided that they didn't want him out. Daniel Maddox is the kid playing the video games. Oh, okay.
Offering a settlement on behalf of the family. $2.5 million for Carlos, $500,000 for Daniel, and $250,000 for Josefina.
There's no doubt at this point that it was a wrongful search and a wrongful arrest.
Showalter says this could also be defamation. He claims Sheriff Nanos named Carlos as a person of interest and has refused to make it clear that he's innocent.
Clear Carlos's name and to acknowledge that he had no involvement whatsoever in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie and that this was an error.
Showalter says the sheriff's office now has 60 days to respond before he files an official lawsuit. We did reach out to the Pima County Sheriff's Office about the claim and have not heard back. In studio,
that's crazy. They should hold Sheriff Nanos responsible personally for that. Don't you guys think? That's ridiculous. That's a cash grab and a half, and that sucks for Pima County, guys. That's not good. All right, nobody's ruled out in the Nancy Guthrie case. All right, this just came out minutes ago before I came on, so if anything comes out or it's redundant, I'm gonna forward it. But let's take a look at what Brian Enton has to say. All right,
the sheriff actually said it in several interviews. The sheriff hasn't done an interview.
I'm gonna start doing my background with a car so that I could be like Brian Enton. Seriously, I love it. He's always reporting from outside or in his car
with me, but I do have another source who also confirmed it, that they have finished the testing on the hair that was found inside Nancy's house, and that it does not point to.
I got to get a nicer car though. All right, my other car that went to Cars for Kids is toast. Yes, they want to rake in the cash. Hell yeah, they do. That's crazy. That's a lot of money to be suing them for, and I'm sure they could win. All right, so Brian Enton reporting from his car. That's a nice car.
To a suspect, that they haven't been able to connect that hair to any kind of suspect. Now, remember, it was a rootless hair, which is more challenging than a hair with a root. Like if you pull the hair out of your head and the root is still there, that is very, very rich with DNA. I've learned from all the DNA.
And we didn't get any DNA from that hair, by the way. That's what we're talking about. Get a limo background. Yes, good idea, Peekaboo. Oh my goodness. Well, they wouldn't be able to afford a person who'd come in and save the day. You know what I mean? What? The money that they made. That's money that made that decision. You know, I don't know if it's money or it. Well, yeah, you're right. We saw the attorney. They probably picked it up just like the civil rights attorney for Celeste Rivas Hernandez. They see a money grab. They see a cash grab. Let's go. Let's sue.
Experts that I've interviewed. But when it's rootless, it's harder to analyze. It is possible to analyze, but it's a lot harder. And there's only a couple of specialists in the country, I'm told, that are really, really good at it. So it obviously took some time, but unfortunately, it's now complete, the testing on the hair, and it does not point to a suspect. So that's obviously discouraging news. A lot of people were really, really hopeful when that hair was found. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't go back and use that hair later. Like if they do find a suspect and have other evidence connecting someone to Nancy Guthrie disappearance, they could go back and once again pull that hair and try to see if they can get anything off of it that connects to that person. But as of now, the hair is sort of pushed to the side, and they've pretty much done everything they can, I'm told, with the hair at this point. Something else new, though, that I haven't heard anyone else report, that I heard from my source, is that the genealogy is ongoing. So they're trying to, with the other piece of DNA that I was talking about that was mixed, the genealogy, the investigative genetic genealogy is ongoing. And they have made some connections with it, I'm told, but those people have been ruled out as potential suspects. I don't know who the other DNA connected back to. I'm just told that anyone potentially connected to it has been ruled out as a potential suspect.
Anyone connected to it. But if you notice the verbiage that, for instance, Nanos is using, they're kind of going around that. All right. So the total Avit Bro, the search warrant was based on, so it was based falseless or baseless evidence is what they're saying. And they made us, that was the Rio Rico home. The claim alleges that deputies followed Carlos Palazuelos, then arrested him by gunpoint. And guys, they say that's the most dangerous time to arrest someone is in a vehicle when you're behind them and you have to pull them over. So not only did they follow him and pull him over, they arrested him at gunpoint with them in the car. While he was detained, the deputies executed a search warrant at his home. The warrant was allegedly obtained using information that was not credible. It was a property search and damage. It says invaded and ransacked the home. They detained Daniel and Josephina as well as Carlos, took his cell phone, driver's license, social security number. They did not say, what the warrant didn't reveal was specific evidence, no probable cause, no surveillance or witness statements, no digital leads, nothing that would reference a kidnapping note at all. Like, I don't even know what they used. Palazuelos was arrested at gunpoint. His house was ransacked, and it was wrong. That's it. They're not saying the verbiage at all. Yeah, there's no transparency in this entire case, guys. And we have to, once we know that, that's why we realize we're on these YouTube channels talking about it.
That testing, though, is ongoing. That investigative genetic genealogy is ongoing. And I think that there's still hope there because the technology is changing every day. It's getting better and better. And hopefully, eventually, maybe that will lead down the path to someone new. Because remember, also, with these DNA databases, they're constantly changing and evolving, and new pieces of DNA and new people are popping up in the databases. So there's still hope there. But as of now, there's really no update on the DNA front besides the fact that the hair has not connected to anyone. And when I say no update, there is an update, but not really a positive update. And that the genealogy has apparently, from what I'm being told, been connected back to some people, but they are not, they've been ruled out as potential.
That's wild that they say that this new sample has up to 4 contributors, right? But we know nothing about them, and we know nothing about when they are talking about a suspect. Where is there a suspect, right? They didn't even impound his car or his wife. Yeah, they didn't have a good search warrant. The feds wrote the search warrant. Yeah, it was an emergency search warrant, and it wasn't complete. That's why they're suing. But I don't know. It's not released. I can't find anything.
Suspects. So let's just hope, like, as the DNA technology advances, and you guys may remember, I even interviewed Cece Moore like a month ago, who's a DNA expert, and she explained that there's even like machines coming online within the next year, new machines, new technology that could actually help with this investigation. So let's just hope that that goes somewhere. So that's the new DNA component to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. I mentioned that Sheriff Nanos has been doing interviews, and I was just in Arizona trying to get an interview with him. And unfortunately,
He
I
can't.
wasn't able to get one. He didn't respond, but
He did to the 17-year-old. I know Brian Enton really wants one and he deserves it. Hey, Under Your Scars, happy Friday. They're still filming from Desert Law. Aaron Cross said deputies were getting switched in and out of the scene due to their parts for. Oh, yeah, I forgot about the A&E series. So listen, they are saying that the search warrant was never released. There was no details that were released. It just said in the Superior Court of State of Arizona and in for the search or in for the county of Pima. So what they're saying is why they're suing them is because it was a false or baseless evidence. The deputies caused significant damage to the property. Family members were detained for hours, personal items seized, and the execution was very aggressive and public, right? So then it pointed people at them, et cetera, et cetera. So, they'll probably win. Damn,
he has given interviews to a lot of other people in the last couple of days. I'm guessing just because it's the 6-month mark. I saw an interview with ABC, CBS, and a bunch of the local affiliates there who have been covering the story. And Ford Hatchett, who's a reporter with ABC 15 out of Phoenix, had an interesting conversation with Sheriff Nanos where he talked about the fact that he is now saying that nobody has been ruled out when it comes to the investigation, which is slightly different than what he said in the past. And I found particularly interesting because these two men who were detained, remember there was the man in Rio Rico when I went out to that raid, and then there was the man in Tucson, not far from Nancy's house, which I'm going to get more into in a minute with the lawsuit now that is about to be filed.
I'm going to go past the lawsuit because we already did that. All right. File a lawsuit, attorney, but I want to talk about nobody being ruled out. All right. Let's see what the notice of claim says, if it's anything different than what I have.
Real quick, I'm going to put my glasses on.
Put your glasses on,
and basically saying that on February 10th, 2026, there was a wrongful arrest and seizure of Carlos Palazuelos and Daniel Maddox and the search of their family property that resulted in significant property damage. Remember, they went through the house, they got the cell phones, they were like, I think they tore down a couple of doors, that kind of thing. It says on February 10th, 2026, deputies of the Pima County Sheriff's Office arrested Carlos at gunpoint and held him without probable cause for approximately 7 to 8 hours. Carlos's arrest was made in a public fashion and that intended to damage Carlos's reputation and subject him to humiliation.
So that's all the same thing, but yeah. Mike, you know what? I should screenshot it next time. They're completely banned from the channel, and when that happens, their comments go away. I'm sorry. Next time I'll let you guys, but I told them I'll only show it if they pay.
And suspicion by implicating Carlos in the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie. The PCSD carried out the arrest in this improper fashion in a misguided attempt to shield itself and Sheriff Nanos from criticism related to their handling of the case and to boost Sheriff Nanos' public profile, it says. While Carlos was being unlawfully held, the PCSD removed Daniel from the home, placed him in handcuffs, and invaded and ransacked the family home, causing significant property.
All right, we went over that. I don't need to go over that. I want to continue about actual evidence or lack of, right? They ordered Daniel to lie on the ground, blah, blah, blah. I don't think they had any reason to think he was involved. Nancy Guthrie, he's never heard of. I have to believe, no indication to believe that. Lives in the wake of the story. I wonder if this is hold on, this might be the attorney.
Imminently and inevitably, but the dailies are left picking up the pieces literally of their home, which was destroying the search warrant.
So we'll see how all this plays out with the two of them and the lawsuit from Carlos. It's interesting that the sheriff said that again though in that interview with ABC 15. That really, really struck me. So I'll stay on top of that. I mentioned that it's now the 6-month mark, pretty much the 6-month mark of when Nancy.
Tomorrow will be the 6-month mark. Foxy's in the house. Come on. You ready to do some troll hunting? I'll find the search warrant and send it to you, Jay. As one of the guys pulled over, gave Lana a copy. She showed. Oh, thank you. Okay. All right. Yeah. I don't have time to watch like those shows that go for hours. But yes, that'd be awesome. If you want to send it to me now, then I could certainly look at it and pull it up. There's my email below, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. There's a lot that just came out today, and that's because the 6-month mark is tomorrow, and they need more leads. Poppy Spot. No news, nanos. We love troll hunting, though. It's fun.
He vanished. They did put out an official statement, the Pima County Sheriff's Office. They said the Guthrie investigation remains active and ongoing. A task force of investigators from the Pima County Sheriff's Department and the FBI remain committed to finding Nancy and providing
blah,
answers to her family. The analysis.
Blah, blah, blah. Let's keep going. I think that's still Dr. Baccato.
It's nice to see you. Thank you for joining me.
We haven't heard any of this, so let's get into this. And if anything redundant comes up, I'll go forward.
I was thinking about you just because we've talked so much about Nancy Guthrie since early on. The first thing I wanted to ask you was just, what do you make of the 6-month mark? I mean, I know it's just a date, but
yep.
I didn't think we would get to this point with so little progress, it seems.
Thank you.
Actually, in truth, when everything boils down to just something like DNA or data like that, it can take quite a while, particularly when you have DNA where there's a profile that has to be, deconvoluted and things like that. It can actually take quite a long time. It's just when I look at the investigation, there are little things that I, as a psychologist, I look back on and I think might have been little windows that could have been taken advantage of psychologically, that sort of fell by the wayside, that might have been useful. But I think in terms of just an investigation as they normally go, I'm actually not surprised that we're here.
What are those windows that stood out to you?
Well, I mean, for example, as we've discussed previously, these two ransom notes, although the second one isn't really a ransom note, that Savannah herself believes are real, do suggest to me two different people who are perhaps experiencing some kind of rupture in terms of their attitude about what happened. And I think that could have been milked by law enforcement in terms of going live and appealing to the author of the we didn't know she had a heart condition.
So he's always on the Drunk Turkey Show, guys. I got to give them credit for that. He's always on there giving the best information. No, I don't always have time to watch it, but they put out great content. Hey, Christina, good to see you. Happy Friday. Twin mommy Melissa. I'll troll hunt if you get a book and a blanket. I got to get that from Tiff. I'm quick at researching this long. It was so long ago. Or to be sure over the weekend, I will find. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's listen to Dr. Mercado. He's been on this case nonstop since it started on the Drunk Turkey Show. That's where I see him. I don't know if he has his own channel or what.
Note, because whoever that person is, I think, was experiencing a desire to distance herself. I still think that was a she. Herself, emotionally, or even legally.
Guys, if he thinks it's a she, I gotta ask you, what's the first woman that pops into your head? Do you think it's a possibility or even a probability that it's somebody other than Annie Guthrie? Anyone? All right. And also, who wants another membership and who wants a guilty of crime pen? Drop a comment, guys.
And it would have been a very good idea, I think, at the time, all those months ago, to appeal to that individual.
So you still think there's multiple people involved in what that the notes were written by? The first note, which was kind of more aggressive, obviously. The second note, which was more sympathetic, are different people.
Yes, I believe that there are at least 3 psychologies involved.
Oh, shit.
Porch guy,
wow.
Who I do not think wrote either of those notes, who I think is clear was some sort of goon that was just sort of put there to give the impression of a totally outside agent, who never met this woman, who came in to do this and to do the dirty work, to do the, and who I think looks like he's, had a run-in.
And that's definitely a possibility. I don't know why we keep seeing freaking Tommaso's face, but hey, you have a gut instinct. It's a sister. Yeah, we keep coming to that conclusion as well on this channel. You want a guilty of crime pen? Me too. All right, we'll give that away. And you guys don't need memberships, but Total Avid Bro needs a membership. Maybe you'll get one. All right.
Or two with the law before, perhaps even drugs, and comes across as really quite a cool-headed character under pressure, because I don't think this is his first rodeo with doing something nasty. But the other two characters, the one who wrote that first note, which is demanding the money, who is, I think, even just from the message, more intelligent than the person we see on that camera, comes across as much more scheming and manipulative. And the person who wrote that second note, who I think has a more emotional quality and perhaps knows Savannah and feels some modicum of sympathy or wants to distance themselves, I think are three different people who were involved in different degrees. And I've said from the beginning that I believe that when this is all, cleared up, and I think it will be, we'll see that there was a person who did the deed, who I've called the waiter, who served it, and I think that's Porch Guy. And behind the scenes, I think there are at least two people with different psychologies and motives.
If there's multiple people, are you surprised at this point they haven't turned on each other, that someone hasn't ratted the other out?
Well, I think that if Porch Guy gets arrested, I think Porch Guy would be easily reasoned with that. You can turn everybody else in, or else, you're in a lot of trouble. And I think that is the kind of person who was probably pragmatic enough to just say, fine. Regarding the people that are behind the curtain, I think there's something in that dynamic that is a little bit more complicated than we understand. For example, when I look at that note, the one that was written with the modicum of sympathy and the distancing, it seems.
It's so weird. I'm glad they're jumping on this, guys, because these ransom notes just came out minutes before I started this. I didn't even have them or any of the context. Hey, oh yeah. How you doing? I really do hope that this case gets solved, even if they don't find her body. The interview room, okay, and lab. Thank you. Appreciate it. We need a better name than Porch Guy, right? Give us one.
Seems to me that a risk was taken in writing that, because it would have been written from the same place that the first one was written. But the first one is demanding money, and the second one is undoing the ability of the first person to get money, which suggests to me that the first person would have been kind of mad that the second person wrote the note. So why would they do it? Why would they take that risk? So there's something going on in that dynamic that's causing a rupture, and yet for some reason no one's come forward. So this suggests two people that are bonded together somehow in a secret or some kind of emotional dynamic.
Do you think he's trying to reference A&T without saying it? Because what other couple, how about Lunatic? Made in America. Yeah, the mask guy. And the problem is the flower man. They could have just got the DNA off of those damn flowers, those damn shrubbery. Many people that do forensic analysis said that it can be extracted from something like that. Putting your mouth on that, and the bite light had slobber all over it. Yes, welcome. I'm going to gift a membership right now. Here.
Dynamic, but they have different psychologies and different feelings about what happened. And that's, I think, something that could have been milked.
You talk about windows that could have been used as opportunities for law enforcement. Do you think this latest Savannah video that we saw, where she said she had this specific message and was clearly talking to the person or people who wrote these notes, are they trying to, it seemed very strategic to me. I mean, it didn't just seem like Savannah popped on and was, just suddenly speaking from the heart. It seemed almost like the earlier messages from her where the words were chosen carefully. Do you think law enforcement is specifically trying to open another one of these windows?
Well, let's put it this way. If it was a complete coincidence and she just decided to do that on her own, which is entirely possible, I don't think she could have done a better job of phrasing it in the way that one would advise her to do, right? Because what I think she did there was very similar to what you would do if, let's say, you had, a couple or friends or whatever that you think were involved together in some kind of deed.
Friends, huh?
You have to rupture them. Well, what you do is you isolate one of them and you say something like, look, I think you had no taste for this. I think that you.
That's interesting. I wonder if law enforcement has ever done that, or they're still afraid of Savannah's "I'll sue you" threat. Guys, you don't want to get sued by Savannah Guthrie, I assure you. I don't think any of us have enough money to fight that battle. You're welcome, Jet Set. Good to see you. Come on in. You've been here for a while. Thank you. Been leaning toward, they're just not saying it because in my opinion, the suing factor. Green is my favorite color too. Thank you. And I don't just say that because you're in the green.
got caught up in this because you were scared. I think you got pressured into this. I think you're a little scared of this person, I think, etc. And you kind of give the person an opportunity to kind of come forward and say, look, this is what motivated this, but I really didn't want this to go so far. And now I'm scared and everything is because one of the people in the story is usually more cruel and psychopathic. And one is just sort of sucked into it and goes along with it. And you have to break that person away from the nastier character. And I think that there would have been an opportunity. And when, I think when Savannah said those things, I mean, I think they were sent directly to the ear of whoever I think that party is, because it's true that there's a longing almost in that message to say, look, I want you to have some closure. It's bothering me that, you might think you did something. There's nothing you could have done, that kind of thing. I understand the idea of legal distancing, but why take the risk to send that if some emotion wasn't overwhelming you? And when you're overwhelmed by emotion, just a little bit of pressure, you could pop because you're looking for relief. Problem is those notes were a long time ago, and this message from Savannah is coming now. So I was fascinated by it because it wasn't long after, I've been talking about these notes. I said to myself, boy, I wish I would have said something earlier. Maybe I could have given somebody the idea a long time ago, but I think it's just a coincidence that someone had the same idea. You know what I mean? But it would have been helpful probably.
So when you saw her message, it does seem to kind of play into your theory of there could be multiple people and she's trying to pull one of them away from the other, pull the sympathetic one away from the other.
Are you guys on the same page as Dr. Mercado and this whole case? I mean, the only things that have come out today is the DNA that has no matches. The other one that has up to 4 potential people. They haven't unmixed them yet. They still have to unmix them and make sure they're able to get DNA. So we've got that, and we've got in my opinion, it's pretty telling, the Savannah Guthrie, her plea for help. To me, it feels like she knows who she's talking to, and she's directly saying those key words to get to them. So I don't know if that's how you guys feel. Some of you that just came in under your scars, let me know. Let me know what you think. Back on board. Thank you, Sadie's mama. Wow, we've been here for almost 3 hours. What the heck? I just want to get abused all night, right? Trolling.
Entirely. Or it could just be that she believes that whoever did it acted alone and is experiencing some kind of guilt or sympathy. But the problem is I don't think anybody could read those 2 notes and think it makes sense that they were written by the same person. They don't even sound like they were written by the same person. And the florid language of the second one is nothing like the mechanical tone of the first. And as I said, sending the second message completely undoes the purpose of the first message, which is precisely why I infer that there was a rupture.
Jim Clemente, who I interviewed a couple days ago, retired FBI profiler, he kind of has the opposite theory of you in terms of he thinks it is one person. He thinks, with the we and the R kind of making it sound like multiple. And then when in the second note, there was one me instead of those, we are, he thinks that was a mistake, which indicates that, that the person is one person, but was trying to make it seem like multiple people. And
I mean, it doesn't even sound the same. I was watching on TV and had to wait for my phone to charge so I can say hi. Well, hello, Rob Beanie. I hope that your phone's charged now. Thank you, Jetson. I appreciate that. I think she knows who is the real killer of her mother. Yeah, because we can't even really call them I guess they're a kidnapper. They took her. Well, I got something else for you guys. It just came out 4 minutes ago. Oh, I just got it. Anyway, is the family involved in this? Wow. Location of the hair DNA could be the first to crack the case. Now we're going to look back at the family members? What? Let's finish what he has to say. We'll go there, and then we'll wrap up this Friday night. I won't be, I don't see you guys on the weekend. So, yeah, the hair's not connected to the suspect, but there is other DNA that says up to 4 people. And I talked about the very beginning. Thank you, guys. I do appreciate that. All right, let's finish. We'll wrap this, and then we'll go to the next. Could it be the family members? It just came out, so I really got to explore that with you. All right. Happy Friday, everybody.
Could that have also, maybe that's why they tried to sound different in the different letters, possibly? Like, do you think there's any chance that could be the case?
It's possible. I mean, I'm a big believer that people have different hypotheses, and you don't know what's true until later, right? I mean, it's entirely possible. But and I respect other people's ideas. But my sense is that even just from a glimpse of Porch Guy in comparison with that second note, it's almost impossible to believe that those were produced by the same psychology. I think that the reason for the me is that the person who wrote that second note was having an emotion that was not shared by the other people that were involved in this matter. And I think it was very revealing to kind of be like, I alone am experiencing guilt or fear that these other characters are not. And, I think whatever motivated this was chiefly financial. But in order to get people to go along with it, they all have to have their own motivations, and you have to prey on them. And for Porch Guy, it was probably money. But whoever this second note, whatever, I think there was something else. There was money and something else, emotion, some kind of thing that was preyed upon. And then the person regretted it because it all went up in smoke. I mean, ultimately, nobody got anything out of this. The way this is going to feel to a basically normal individual, not a psychopath, but a basically normal individual, is like the way you would feel if you put all your money into a slot machine and it went up in smoke.
Yeah, they got nothing, guys. They literally got nothing. Someone with a contract would work harder to find them. All right. Happy birthday to your baby boy who turns 18 tomorrow. You've got your hands full. You got a boy, a Leo. What's up? Okay, guys. So look, I just saw this. I thought it was the Brew Crew guy, but I think a big explanation in this case could come from the time gap. And you guys seem to be on that same page too. Guys, there was a time gap before family arrived to Nancy's house. Now, some people say she didn't even make it home. So what do you think about that time gap before they called anyone? There was 51 minutes to an hour. There's a discrepancy with the timeline, and A and T were there. All right. Now we can talk about the DNA all day, but I think as far as the DNA goes, the mixed DNA is not pointing to a direct suspect, and it's inconclusive right now. We don't know if the other DNA is going to be hair or what else they found. They did say that there's a foreign hair, so maybe it is found in a private space in the bedroom. They say it was a hair in Nancy's private bedroom and should warrant investigative interest. Should have been there, and they're trying to rule that out. All right. So I don't know. There's nothing really else we can say about the DNA evidence until we hear back from them. But with that, the evidence that the notes came out from, when we're talking about the notes and if that is from the same person or not, I think it's a different person, same couple, and well, yeah, I don't want to even say the name. Let's finish here, and I'll get.
And now you're looking at it, going like, "What was I thinking? Yep. I got nothing." And now on top of it, I'm even more in more trouble than I was to begin with. That kind of thing. And I think that regret feeling that even from
though I don't know, her pacemaker seems to be more reliable than a neighbor's door cam. Does anybody know about pacemakers and the connection and then having a spike in it that night? I mean, I just don't. Maybe I'm not an expert on pacemakers. Sober up. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But when the pacemaker connected and then there was a spike around 2 a.m, when they allude to the fact that that's a time frame of the kidnapper, then how do you explain that?
A practical level, forget about the emotional, that you might have in some way known this victim. It is something that needs to be taken advantage of from the perspective of pressure on that individual to finally say, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to throw everybody else in.
And I do think Savannah, I totally think Savannah knows who she thinks she's talking to. Island Possible, Me Impossible. All right, look, Dr. Mercado, I think there's going to continue talking about this, and we keep coming back to A&T, no matter what anybody says. How do you explain the time gap? Well, let's see if we can listen to this and see what they have to say just a little bit. I don't have to keep you guys that long, all right? the unexplained time gap before the rest of the family arrives. Annie and Tommaso. So those of you that said Nancy did not even make it back to the house, you think she was unalived at their house? Let's
That
talk
if
about it.
Nancy is dropped off at 9:48 p.m. and family sees her in the house, as stated by Sheriff Nanos, that could mean that the nightmare for Nancy Guthrie possibly could have begun as soon as the garage door closes at 9:50 p.m. Something happening in the house that caused her to miss her 10 p.m. medication. So that is the aspect of the case that remains, intriguing if it ever comes out. So as of now, that information is unconfirmed. If you believe that you have confirmed it, hey, let us know where to look it up, what official page, and you know what?
Yeah, right. So the timeline did change a little bit. It has changed a little bit, and they didn't tell us what kind of bodily fluid at all. We know about hair, but that is not usable at this point. So I wish I knew what it was. I wish I knew it was sweat or spit or semen. I talked about that earlier. Nano's involved until Porch Guy's caught, the team inside the job. Ellen, Annie, Tommaso, Porch Guy. Interesting.
I'll be happy to do so. And if you think about it, if the police have already counted the pills, say, or maybe Nancy's pill organizer still has January 31st in it, I can't imagine the detectives ruling out that the whole thing that we saw with the crotch holster guy on Nancy's front porch, other than being staged, because if Nancy was already in trouble at 10 p.m., then the whole thing concerning that guy really has to look staged. Just a while back, I made a video called Devices, and that was just to highlight how Nancy's devices more than likely reveals that she did make it home that night, from Annie's house, that the family's timeline that they gave to Pima County should check out, in terms of just cell phone tower triangulation and GPS tracking alone. Now, I assume most of us has been following the Nancy Guthrie case for a long time now, if not from the very beginning, okay? So it should come to no surprise to us by now how little about family and how absent they are in terms of looking for and speaking out for Nancy. Now, if you guys have been following the Nolan Wells case, like I have been in the background, then
I haven't heard anything about maybe he did say bodily fluids. If so, that was the first time I heard about it. 4 contributors is what they're saying, up to 4 contributors. And the only reason they're saying up to 4 contributors is because of the because they have, that's all they can extract is up to 4. My pigeon Milo, any leads in the case? Well, the new thing that just came out was the release of I don't cover this every day, so everything that I have on today is new, and then we're going to continue. Everything else is speculation after hour 1.5 and a half, right?
you will see how, I should not say how loved ones should behave, but they behave more along the lines of what I'll say for me, okay, would expect loved ones to grieve and demand answers, okay? Desperate for the public to help them, okay? You have a wife and a husband, hand in hand, telling everyone they can about what they know, sharing as much as possible about what they learned from the police, every facet of the case, and especially sharing everything about who the deceased was so that the public gets a better understanding, that we can relate, and maybe they can get answers about, the person that is no longer with us and possibly why they are no longer with us. Imagine if A&T felt the need to do this. And at the same time, we have to wonder why A&T did not feel the need to do this, which hopefully they will clarify one day.
I don't think they're going to clarify one day. I think if they ever get back around to it, that they're going to be able to, they're going to actually look at the freaking Occam's razor and who you're supposed to rule out first and then rule them out. The only reason they're talking about Nolan Wells, that he's discussing Nolan Wells, is because he's trying to tell you that he believes that the person or people connected are that close in proximity to each other, like a husband and a wife. And no, there's not 4 bodily fluids. There's DNA that can identify up to 4 people. Do I know all the backstory to that? No, but I gave you everything I can. 4 contributors. That's exactly what it was. It's not 4 DNA or 4 different bodily fluids. All right, that's all he's trying to do with the connection. All right, so I'm gonna move past that. He's just trying to say the connection he thinks is very close, meaning, right? People aren't saying their names because Savannah threatened to sue people if they point the fingers at them. You remember they moved in the middle of the night. They were in a house and they had to get a rental because the public was saying, get on, they did it, whatever, right?
Seen Nancy alive. I feel all we got was a planned memorial walk that felt more about Savannah backing Annie and Tommaso because, of course, the public is looking at them with suspicious eyes, just as much about them as it was about Nancy. And not one statement to the media that was recording them, that was out there. I would say that was a perfect opportunity to give thanks. Hey, even to show outrage at the accusations, right? They could share details of what they did that Saturday night and how fun it was, the route they used to take her home. Everything was hunky-dory. Where they dropped Nancy off, just get into details, okay? Because if everybody in the family and their acquaintances are innocent, then nothing about that phase of the story should be held back. I also want to touch on the fact that it was also a great moment to give a description of who Nancy is. This memorial walk is about Nancy, right? Well, go ahead and tell us, okay, what she was like when she was there. Make us feel like we know this lady that we have been searching for, okay? However, instead, the trio just walks away.
Guys, why do we come back to these people again and again? And you guys, you're right. Everyone says it walks like a duck, it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck. But we're 6 months later. We're 6 months later and we don't have any more information about those two except for speculation. And that sucks. All right, JLR was wrong. Then it will not be the first time. Of course, Total Avid, bro. Of course. All right, I'm going to go grab something to drink. I'll be right back. 3 hours in my voice. I need something.
Never once acknowledging the media, looking into the camera to acknowledge the public. And I also don't want us to forget that we have not heard from friends or acquaintances of Nancy. Okay, where are Nancy's church friends, the concerned church friends that called Annie that morning? And it's puzzling, somewhat understandable at the same time, because I want to be reasonable about people's actions, and even if it looks suspicious, okay? The fact that Brian Enton revealed that these people are asked to remain quiet, that family has asked those people to just not talk about it. Not to say that this case is equal to that of Nolan Wells. Okay, I understand the difference, but I don't think I was wrong to expect Annie and Tommaso to do the media rounds early on, just like Nolan's mom and dad is doing right now. But it's been 5 months.
Shout out to Sadie's mama. Wes says, hello, Sadie's mama. We love you, and we hope you're feeling good today. We hope she's feeling good today. Yeah. You want to go down now? Are you full? You tired? Aw.
Nancy is still missing, and it doesn't look like we're any closer to answers. That makes it still a great opportunity to get in front of the camera, address your concerns, address your frustrations, your anger even at the public, thank the ones that are on your side, and just show show us you're human, right? Show us the humanity, because as of right now, we don't know what to make of anything. And honestly, I am still hopeful we will see Annie and Tommaso, give that exclusive interview, hopefully not with Hoda Kotb, even not with any local news station. I actually just want them to talk to Brian Enton, because I have faith in that man to speak for us and ask the questions that have been burning in our minds as it has in his. I'm pretty sure that none of us will ever forget the time when Thomas Cioni was the prime suspect in this whole thing, as according to Ashley Banfield, which I still do believe her sources were being honest. And even then, we didn't get an angry reply from him. We didn't get a...
Guys, I love it. I knew I loved Monk's intrigue anyway. His mind just, man, love it. But anyway, I'm so glad that he keeps doing these episodes. He just keeps putting them out. And no one's going to stop him.
Statement from Annie, who I feel should have been a livid wife that her husband has been accused of such a thing, okay, no one came out of the woodworks from any areas of their life to share a story about the son-in-law, you know, how he couldn't do it, give us a story about how kind he is, how good a man he is. And in contrast, hey, even how bad a man he is. He is a 6th grade teacher, and not one student or faculty member has a word to share with the local news. How far-reaching is this, I'm just assuming, PR machine that is keeping everybody in this orbit just quiet? Ladies and gentlemen, in the Nancy Guthrie case, in my lawn chair detective opinion, we're just not allowed to know much because of that massive PR machine at work from the very beginning, which I assume is just a string of high-priced lawyers that just has restricted everything and everyone, okay? Because their motto is possibly less is more in terms of keeping the family looking clean. As
Right. And he's saying all the things that we know and we think, and right, we try to avoid that. We try to avoid pointing blame so when they get death threats. But come on, man. I think Nanos is just doing a favor for Savannah, and that doesn't make sense. Doing a favor for Savannah isn't going to solve this case. I know, I love Monk.
clean as possible, I should say. I mean, in contrast to that, look how many people believe that Annie and Tommaso has something to do with it. So,
right?
I mean, a statement from the pair can't possibly be that detrimental to how they look. Just touch on the talking points that you don't want them to talk about. Give the public a little humanity. Tell us what happened those days as you remember it. And
walk around like that?
I'm pretty sure more than just a few people are going to.
Would you guys think I was suspicious if like somebody went missing from my house and then you only saw me like this again? And every time I saw you, it was like hiding. I mean, come on, guys. She does that look in her eyes. And they both have that same kind of look too. Damn it.
Jump off the Annie and Tommaso did it bandwagon. After saying all that, I know this is going to sound weird to say, but did you guys ever realize that not much is mentioned about families' devices, okay? Which should be just as important as their car, right? That 2010 Honda.
Right. And guys, remember, they did spend days at the house. Where are they now? Where are A&T? Somebody says they are hiding out somewhere. Is that somebody from the area or what? Don't forget, we're gonna give out Monk's Mention Master. We're gonna give out a guilty of crime pen, and then Tip's got some other stuff I'll tell you about, some new stuff. And if you want to get that, then you don't gotta pay shipping. All right, let me do it.
CRV being impounded as evidence for a whopping 40 days, give or take, right? Since everything I could find is prefaced with, around, right? Roughly, approximately. Their vehicle was impounded for well over a month, which is a crazy amount of time in contrast to the standard processing of a vehicle of 1 to 2 weeks max, which actually makes the 4 to 8 weeks that Pima County was holding onto their vehicle for even more puzzling. Now, if you include Sheriff Nanos taking it upon himself to clear the family.
Yeah, right. He did take it upon himself, and he tried to retract that in that statement, but he didn't do a very good job of it. All right. Does anybody know that's from that area? Where's Tucson Girl? Or anybody in the area know where A&T are? We just saw their house from a couple days ago, and they haven't been spotted at all. So where are they?
But not handing back the family's car in a standard amount of time, issuing the most bumbling retraction about the family saying, well, they are not suspects at this time. How else do you want the public to respond to this kind of nonsense without any explanation? Of course, we're going to use our imagination. So in terms of the family's devices, we could assume that the same process, right, of cell tower triangulation and GPS tracking, are applied to understand the movements and how it fits, right, alibis. Going back to February 1st, right, it's a Sunday morning. Family gets a phone call from Nancy's church friends, which, from my knowledge, has always been at a stable 11.
If you weren't paying attention fully, you should pay attention now. Right now is the timeline. All right. So right now we're starting the timeline, and the missing time frame, missing gap in this case. And obviously you can see who we're pointing fingers towards. All right. Hey, Lucky. All right. Let's continue. So, yeah, some people said that Italy was that Tommaso went to Italy originally. I don't even know if that happened, but I guess we'll find out soon, huh?
a.m. However, why is it been a puzzle when it comes to when family gets to Nancy's house?
The family went to the house. I'm thinking they spent some time looking for her themselves before they called us. So I'm guessing maybe they got there around 11. So they did some searching and realized we need some help, and they called 911.
Okay.
And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy.
I'm sure Pima County knows the time exactly when family arrived, simply just by following their devices. Now, the time that cannot be disputed is when family called the police, which is at 12:03, right? Family calls the police.
So right now we've got 11 o'clock and then 12:03. So 11 o'clock, making a phone call around that time. You got an hour and 3 minutes after that to do what? All right. Oh, I know. It just keeps on doing it, Shadow Lion. That's the problem.
And the police arrives about 12 minutes later at 12:15. Now, keep that in mind because 12:15 is important. So we're going to do something that might just prove very intriguing to a lot of us, okay? We're going to see from what Savannah outlined in her interview with Hoikadbi a long stretch of unexplained time. So the first thing we have to do is to understand the time difference between Arizona and New York, okay? So it is wintertime that Sunday morning in Pima.
All right, pay attention. And guys, mind you, why is it that Savannah can go back to work, have a new game show, be on the, Good Morning America, whatever that is, or whatever the Today Show, and pick up a new Wordle show, but Andy and Tommaso that just had bought a house that didn't even pay one payment on that house yet, just disappeared. And Tommaso's on leave. I mean, this is not verified, but where are they? Like, where Savannah is completely, because we can see her every time she's on the Today Show. People know. People are like, she was gone. She left early. But what about them?
County. We all know that a group of church friends were gathering that morning to watch a live stream of Good Shepherd Church, which is a New York-based church service, which the one and only Savannah Guthrie and her children attend every single week. We can use our lawn chair detective skills to deduce that the only reason, these folks in Pima County were gathering to watch this sermon from Manhattan was because the mother of Savannah Guthrie was part of that gathering. Now, it being winter is important because that means New York at this time is a full 3 hours ahead of Arizona's Mountain Standard Time, which, rightfully so, doesn't practice the tomfoolery of daylight savings time. So Savannah Guthrie attends in person the Good Shepherd Church, and that starts at 9:30 a.m. every Sunday. That service is then video recorded, and once it wraps up, it is streamed over the internet for everyone else in the country at 11:15 a.m. Eastern, okay? The time frame of this service is important. So if it begins at 9:30 and the streams for everyone at 11:15, we can safely assume that the entire service is about 60 to 90 minutes. So moving to Pima County, every week when Nancy and her church friends would start watching the stream, if we subtract those 3 hours from when it streams in New York, then it would be 8:15 in Arizona. So whoever was holding the gathering, that person could reasonably expect people to start showing up at around 8 a.m. So let's go ahead and...
Well, guys, I didn't even think about that, right? What a mess. I didn't even think about the fact that it would be 8:15 in the morning in order to be there on time, right? You just assume church is at, 10, 11 o'clock? Yeah, right? That's what you assume. And listen, I don't know if he's going back to school. It is summertime, but summer's almost over. The school goes back in 2 weeks from now. So is he going to show up? I don't know. I don't think it'd be a good idea to take off, but we don't know. I don't think Sheriff Nanos ever said, or anybody ever said to them, you can't leave the area.
Place ourselves in Nancy's church friends' shoes. 8 a.m. rolls around and Nancy is not yet there. Okay. No cause for concern for I will say, no matter how diligent a person is in terms of time, everyone is late now and again. So that stream starts at 8:15 a.m. And let's just say more than a few friends are disappointed that Nancy is going to miss the beginning of the service. And I think we can assume that if the ladies already haven't, they would then give Nancy a call and they would get no answer, right? Maybe she's rushing over at the moment and can't pick up. Now, if we are to consider that the service...
Yeah, it was live streamed. They had been live streaming it since COVID, and Nancy always would go to her friend's house and watch it. They'd watch it all together, like the picture that you saw. All right. Was she expected? She wasn't driving to church, but I don't know if she was driving to her friend's house or not. We don't have the complete story, and they're not talking. The two people that were supposed to have taken care of her, dropped her off that night, allegedly, and then made sure that she was okay for church the next day or whatever, aren't talking.
Service is more likely than not an hour and some change, right? By 9 a.m., the stream is more than halfway done. And I can only imagine that Nancy's closest friends would call her again, okay, to no avail. Now, if we know that our friend, who is 84 years old, has health conditions, she has a pacemaker, this would be a cause for alarm already, don't you think? Now, here's the problem with that line of thinking. Something that I guess I never thought to question, but I'm not sure we were ever given an actual time when Nancy's church friends called Annie, right? I think Sheriff Nanos touched on that subject in those early press conferences.
Well, here's the thing is that maybe Tommaso did take her home, but they don't answer that. And the two people to see her alive last, she was with A&T. So even if it was Tommaso that took her home or not, she was with her daughter at her daughter's house with Tommaso. It wasn't just like he was only one with her. All right. All right. Hey, Amethyst.
But he spoke in a more open-ended way without any specific timestamps.
9:45 in the evening, her children left her off. At some time earlier that morning, they got a call from somebody at the church who said, "Hey, your mom's not here."
I think we have the first truly troubling gap in the timeline, unless you guys can prove me wrong. Tell me something that I missed. Tell me that he did give a time. Show me where it is that he says they called Annie at 11 a.m. Because here's the problem, right? If the church stream is over by 9:30 a.m.,
yeah, then
and if Nancy's
11?
friends are wondering where she could be, then wouldn't it be a perfect time?
Guys, that's a huge gap. Just saying. I thought it was only an hour and 3 minutes. That's the longest I've heard, but that's a much bigger gap if they didn't go there till 11 o'clock and the church services were over by 9:30 in the morning. So it took Annie and Tommaso an hour and a half to, or maybe let's say the friends just said, "Hey, you know what? Let's give her a half an hour. They're probably late. They're probably driving over there, you know." But then you still got another additional hour on top of that for them to even respond. It only takes 10 minutes for them to get there. So what? Yeah, that's a huge gap.
To call Annie, just to ask her if Nancy was with her. Did she forget to come to this gathering? Wouldn't that be the time that, family gets that call? But it's only 9:30 a.m.
Right.
Even if we move that back with some delay to 10 a.m., that is still a massive gap to the confirmed 12:03 when the police are finally called. So please,
that's 2 hours.
I want to be
now.
wrong about this. I encourage everyone to try to find the hole in the logic I just presented here. I feel I could be missing something, or did family really wait 2 hours before calling the police? Or did Nancy's church friends wait a full hour and a half? If that's the case, then any of us could see what kind of issue we might have with a large 2-hour gap of not being able to reach your mom, who is only 4 miles away. Okay, we all have our biases, right? In a case that has been going on for months now, 5 months, but you have to admit, even if you...
Hey guys, welcome Regina76 to the official crime crew. Welcome. Thank you. Come on in.
Throw those biases out the window. 2 hours of not being able to contact your elderly mother should feel like a heart-wrenching, insurmountable amount of time. We can't even get there fast enough if it was 10 seconds. Even if it was 1 hour, okay? That still sounds pretty puzzling. Now, let's go ahead and look at the account from Savannah directly, from that Hodakapi interview, okay? So she says that before Annie called her, she was having...
Yeah, I already had the time gap factored into the wait of calling Savannah. The wait for calling Savannah was already an hour or over for them to call her and say, hey, we already called 911. We looked around the back. The doors were wide open. The details that Annie gave to her sister Savannah were like, wait, why are you saying that? You didn't tell her, hey, we came into the house and we didn't see mom. The back doors were open. There's blood on the porch. There was no kind of urgency ever. So there's no urgency even in that. Even in this, we're looking. There's a problem, guys.
A beautiful, fun night together at Carson Daly's home. And I feel we can safely imagine Savannah and her kids, hanging out with Carson Daly's family and his kids. They most likely had dinner together. And the whole night, I'll say it lasted about 2 hours. Just a relaxing evening with good company, right? How does 2 hours sound to you guys, right? It seems reasonable for a fun night, okay? The key description that Savannah gives us is night. So if we know that sunset in New York is 5:13 p.m. on that day, it's more than within reason to say that Savannah was home at 7:30 p.m. Now, honestly, to me, that sounds conservative. But if we could all agree on that, that means that it's 4:30 in Pima County, which lies the next puzzling time gap. Why?
That's interesting because I did not see another time gap, but there hasn't really been an official timeline either. The timeline has changed significantly since the beginning of this. And that's because Nanos is not being descriptive. It's just word salad. He's telling us whatever he thinks we want to hear. And he's not even telling us that. He's going around it.
Why did it take Annie more than 4 hours from the time the police arrive at her house, which is said to be at about 12:15, okay? 4 hours to inform her sister about their mom being missing. I feel there is no way that Annie and Tommaso at this point in the case, okay, they're at Nancy's house with police everywhere, that A&T don't already know that the Nest camera is missing and that there is blood on the porch, right? But Annie only tells Savannah that the back doors were propped open, leading Savannah to believe that it is a possibility that a medical emergency happened overnight and the paramedics had to prop open their mother's door so that they can gurney her out, going as far as to allow Savannah to call the hospitals herself with the knowledge that the scene at their mother's house.
But you got to remember, they said they had already done that. They had already called people, called around, they went outside, looked around, right? Exactly. An 84-year-old woman, every minute is valuable. I mean, you saw a picture of Nancy, a little like prior to when she passed or when she was killed, whatever happened, she looked pretty fragile, guys.
House was a cause for grave concerns, to take the words of Nanos, okay? We also know that from police scanners uncovered by Juanita Araming, that the police had already called the hospitals. Now, if Savannah was given that bit of information that the police had already called, would she still have called? Now, of course, however suspicious as this looks, I actually do think I have an idea why Annie behaved this way.
Okay, tell us, please tell us, because there's a video that Coffin Doffer did, and it's like, why everyone thinks A&T are guilty of this. Well, number one, they were the last people to be with her. They were the first people to be at the house when she was missing. So there's two things right there. Last to be with her, biggest motive. So there's three things, right? Last with her, last at her house before, and the biggest financial motive.
Why it might be so. So let's look at this from a loving family member's perspective first. If we take the roughly 4 hours it took Annie from discovering her mother missing in the morning to calling her sister way in the afternoon, if we're looking at it through the lens of a genuinely bewildered loved one, then I would say that Annie was just trying to protect Savannah, right? To protect her little sister from the truth for as long as she could, okay? The likely scenario that their mother...
I'm not buying that at all, but hey, let's talk about a loving family member. Yeah, you're right. She should have never been living at home. It was a beautiful house. but it's too much for a fragile 84-year-old woman. She was fragile, guys. All right. So she had randomly popped and picked her mom up for lunch, right? Make it make sense. It doesn't. Her eyes,
was physically removed from her home and was bleeding with something she could not yet bear to tell Savannah or Cameron just yet, right? And if we look at it from that angle, hey, I personally can see why Annie would do what she did, because she wanted to exhaust all the possibilities, right? At least have some answers, maybe even find their mother before she had to break the news, to her siblings. I feel that makes perfect sense. Now, in contrast, if we were to look at it through the lens of a person that, say, has knowledge of the abduction, or maybe just a well-founded suspicion of who possibly could have did the crime, then also that behavior also aligns with the disappearance of Nancy. And, well, I want to say a quick thanks to Dottie again for sending me this food for thought, even though it is a very
looks very fragile in this picture. And again, I don't know how long before this was taken, but tell me she doesn't look fragile versus some of the other pictures that we see her in, where she's a lot more, we'll say, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. 1,000, what is it? 100p Rock Princess. Shout out to you. Tell your man we say hello and happy Friday. All right.
Thought to think that there was a possibility that Nancy's nightmare began the moment she walked into her house that previous evening.
It could be.
My name is Monks. Now go protect the ones that you love, and don't forget to love the ones that protect you.
Mrs. Redhead's in the house. All right, we got through it, guys. We've been here for 3.5 hours, 3 hours and 25 minutes, and it's been 6 months. Hey, Mrs. Redhead, 6 months, and this is still all we have is a bunch of speculation, a bunch of drawings, a cast of freaking characters that have been detained, released, suspected, right? And still nothing has been found. So that being said, guys, remember, look at these people, the key figures, look at who is connected to who, and think about who has the biggest motive, who had the biggest opportunity to do that, and who were the last people to be with her, drop her off allegedly, and be at the house before anyone else came. All right. Is recording on the yes, it is. It's 3 hours and 25 minutes and 51 seconds. But guess what, guys? Don't go, because we're giving away a guilty of crime pen that Holly. I'm not Holly. I read holy shit. And all right, don't go. We're gonna give away a guilty of crime pen. Tiff, where are you? Hold on, let me put that up real quick so you guys can see. Tiff makes a bunch of really cool things for guilty of crime. If you've seen our merchandise on guiltyofcrime.com, you'll see how awesome she does, all custom, whatever. So there it is, the guilty of crime pen. She's going to ship that out to you. So we're going to see who could win that right now. Let's do the wheel. The wheel of, I was going to say the wheel of death, but it's not. It's the wheel of fun. Hold on. All right. And I think, what do you think, Tiff? I think, guess what, guys? I think it's not Monday. It's not members only Monday. And it's a nice Friday. So you know what? We're going to ship it to anyone today and anyone that's in the U.S. Any one of you guys. If you don't have a membership, you're not green. I love you guys and I love all the people, but let's just give it to anybody can get it. Okay. All right, let's go. The Wheel of Justice. Yes. Where's my pig tutu and Nisa? All right, let's y'all make me not want to leave, but I'm hungry, so that's my only motivation is my hunger. All right, let me get you guys this and I'll give it away. You guys have to claim it, guilty of prizes, or whatever. What is it? Not guilty of prizes. What is it? Guilty of crime.merch. I'll figure it out. Where are you, Tiff? All right. And cross your fingers, put your hands up, whatever. We've also got some new merch in the store. Go check that out. Yeah, Ohio. It's definitely dinner time. Thank you, Tucson girl. I appreciate that. Look at that. Raw beanie. Now, raw beanie 429. Do you want a guilty of crime pen? You won. So if you want that pen and you're in the United States, then Tiff will certainly ship that to you. Or you could just email me, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com, and I'll send it over to her because I don't know her email right now. I don't know why. I just can't remember it. Hey, Midnight Lace. So glad you guys are here. Where'd you go, Robini? You won. Where are you? All right. Are you in the United States? If so, then we're good to go. Then we'll ship it out to you. Email me at guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com if you're in the US, or you could send that to Tiff, which will go directly to her. Let me just give you her name. I don't know why I can't remember it right now. My brain is mush. I worked a full day at work and then I came home and did 3.5 hours. So, yeah, I'm a little tired. All right, there it is, Robini. guiltyofcrime.merch@gmail.com. All right, guys. Monday. Members only Monday. It'll be whatever I choose to do for the members, but don't be discouraged. If you're not a member, come along anyway. We'll figure it out. Thank you, Synth. guiltyofcrime.merch@gmail.com. I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you for the support. You guys are great. You guys have been just waiting. I come, there's like 30 plus people waiting, and you guys are just lovely people. So thank you. And I'm not talking to the trolls here. Although Guilty of Crime Crew does enjoy a good troll hunt. We got to do a troll hunt on Monday or Tuesday. All right. Who's with me? Oh, I know who's with me. My pastor calls me, Misha's with me. Let's go. Love you guys. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys on Monday. Good night.
Guilty of Crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of Crime.
Are you guilty?